that problem can be addressed, it just has to be addressed probably by somebody other than you.
Right, I
Probably
mean,
needs to be.
from park enforcement perspective, we can't really single out and put restrictions on food trucks, but not other commercial people, so they kind of all have to go together, so.
But county can fix this issue for us, and we just need to get county to pay attention to us, not you, because you guys have been great. Been very responsive to everything we've asked for, and I really appreciate it.
Let me just stop everybody for a second, just give a real quick introduction. My name is Henry Baker, I'm the parking control supervisor for Palmdale Station. I partner up with Charles White here, who covers Santa Clarita, so we cover both ends of the Acton area. We were asked to come here and just put a face to the voice, because what we heard earlier today was, we didn't even know county had parking enforcement. We've always been here, we're a small group, in 15,000 employees in the sheriff's department, we only factor around 60, basically, so we're spread out throughout the unincorporated area. Going back to the Acton area, about 2 years ago, we were asked to help out with the school and the vendors just south of here on Crown Valley by the school on Antelope Valley. So that's been something that we're asked to attend to, and we've been monitoring for the past 2 years. And now some of the vendors have set up along Sierra and Crown. And over the past 2 months, where this has again been brought to our attention, we have been addressing it along with the deputies that come by, just to give you an idea of what's been going on for the past 2 months. We've had a combined patrol of approximately 160 log responses for this area. Issued a few amount of cites. We're not typically finding when we show up that the vendors are staying in the red. They're parking in the curbside parking. It's the customers, the patrons, that will pull up for a few minutes, and it's hit and miss when we catch them. We're not gonna chase them down the road. We cite them when we can. We try to educate them. If they're pulling up when we pull up, we may very well just inform them, you get out of your car, if you intend on staying here, that's not a automatic ticket. So move it along or receive the cite. So it's not like a witch hunt. We're trying to be a little bit flexible, but we understand the concern of this being an ongoing issue. And to what you're saying about the vendors, the licensing and all that, that's out of our realm. We're just strictly in the enforcement. The non-conforming ordinance is one aspect, but it would be district-wide, both on the commercial highways and along with the residential areas. So that might not be the way to go. Putting time limit restrictions for Sierra and Crown, 30 minutes, 1 hour parking, which would not eliminate the violators, but at least allow a turnaround.
Can you set a minute for one?
Yeah, can we extend to the red curve further and make it a line of sight issue, since there are 18-wheelers that come in and out of that driveway?
So I discussed about this when I was, when we were coming up with this. I mean, we do have significant red curve at every commercial driveway in the north side now.
Because the speed limit's 45 miles an hour.
Right.
And then you have trucks, ingress, egress, and it is a
Well,
commercial.
We do have typical guidelines for how much red curb we install next to commercial driveways, and we've installed significantly more than those guidelines.
Okay.
So, I mean,
So
I
it's
know
not
that
line-of-sight.
it was brought up, like, why don't we just red curb everything, but that generally is not, like, it's generally not gonna be very effective in the long term. What will happen is you'll end up,
Why not?
because you'll end up having, the food trucks will just set up in the red eventually. If they wanna be there, they're not gonna be worried about a $53, $63 ticket.
Why don't they just-
Right.
They just paid.
But they'll just pay it and it'd be part of their cost of doing business.
Part of
Yeah.
it, yeah.
We'd rather have them, try to at least have them be in better locations
But
rather
then all
than.
the customers will pay the fines, and they won't want to be paying $65 or $85 ticket.
Sure.
So, I mean, it's not, full red curve is not just to get the food trucks, but also the customers.
Right, but it's also, they are marking the red and a lot of them, because park enforcement can't be there all the time. And
If
they're
it's-
in that way.
Well, I also think it's beyond parking enforcement, because they have the tents and the tables set
So
up
that's,
on, it's an ADA violation.
That's
Yes.
the point,
You can't
that's
get
not,
past that in a wheelchair.
so we're caught between, you do enforcement for
For the
parking.
parking, right.
Health department does enforcement for what there is. The ordinance says you cannot attach anything to fences, you cannot set up canopies, you can have a cart with an umbrella.
Anything other than that violates the county code. Yet health department won't enforce that provision in code, and apparently your department doesn't, because it's not, because where they are is in a parking zone. But it still violates the ordinance, so who is the department, what department enforces the county code provisions, like you were talking about, that have the tables and chairs, cooking, they set up tables and fry stuff, totally illegal. We have emails from the health department saying that's not allowed. Okay.
The AM, PM, they're there every night.
Yeah, we don't have.
And across from the McDonald's,
Yeah.
they set up tables and chairs there.
And so does the taco truck in front of
So
the.
we're kind of, you know, I know it sounds maybe like we're vindictive and petty, we don't like these businesses, that's actually not the truth. It's, there's an ordinance, and it says ABC, and nobody's enforcing A or B or C, and they're,
Have you had the health department come out to speak to the community? Because
Yeah.
no, they won't come, they just email us, they say, oh, well, we don't.
Because
do
we
that."
have a similar situation on Passaic Road in the Santa Clarita area. And they have come out and they have checked for licensing and to make sure that the tables and stuff
Oh,
are not
they-
over the sidewalk.
they do that.
That is,
They do that.
Now, I
They
don't
come out
know-
and they enforce, and they say, well, you know, their temperature is the right temperature, and they have their little letter grade, except for, they're not allowed to have tables and chairs and canopies and grills and cooking. They're not, we have emails from the health department saying that is not allowed, yet nobody enforces on those uses. And I'm sorry if I sound frustrated, but.
We are.
It's just,
The
and-
city of Santa Clarita was able to remove them.
Because they're incorporated.
Yeah,
into it.
I
So
mean, you
why
have
can't
that-
the
Hey,
county put on the
Jackie.
same code as the city of Santa Clarita?
Because it doesn't want to.
All right, hold on.
You'll have to get public health to speak, but my understanding is there's.
Yeah,
Or
like I've
logo.
been in other meetings before, whenever we've gone out with the health department, the actual food trucks are licensed, they get spot checked. The other ones are not licensed, they get cited, and their food gets confiscated, they just can't take the equipment. They come back the next day, but they do, I know the chairs are like an ongoing issue on the one next to the feed store, but they've gone out there, for whatever reason, they say that's fine. But the food trucks do have licensing, they do the spot check, and then the tent ones over on Ella Woods, they get confiscated, but just have their equipment.
Well, they're every night, so I don't.
They're there every night for 5, 6 hours.
To be confiscated.
But there's nothing that prevents their equipment from being confiscated. They can confiscate the equipment. They just don't.
Quick question. I understand you guys wanna, have parking, 2-hour parking, 1-hour parking. I've seen different areas where, can we just have no street vendors? Period.
No,
No.
there's not like a type of parking sign you can put
No,
up.
I see things, no cars for sale, no parking of cars for
We can
sale.
put that. There is some signs related to street vending would be the Department of Economic Opportunity. So there may be some signs that can host specific types of situations, but I can't really speak to that.
So if they move their truck, and I haul my horse trailer in my Suburban and park it right there where they park their truck, and everything else is red, am I gonna get towed?
Not unless you're violating a parking sign.
Alright, so tell
And-
me when they move,
And
it
also,
sits in the driveway, what the hell?
and also, they can't tow unless there's a towaway provision. Or the only other
But
way,
if we block where they're parking, that's okay.
you're allowed to park there, just not there, yeah. If
Just gotta find out
you're not
when
parking the
they
red,
leave,
like,
3 o'clock in the
This
morning.
gentleman wanted to set up a
if
schedule.
we put in a
I'll
1-hour
set it
parking
up.
sign and you park more than 1 hour, you could be cited.
So
I just wanna make suggestion again, as a truck driver,
Yeah.
okay, for 18 years, when you do consider the parking restriction, I would like to recommend 1 hour parking restriction, only reason because when you're driving a tractor trailer, after your 30-minute pre-trip, you have 3 hours or 150 miles, you have to pull over and check your load for securement. How many hours do we sit on the 14 freeway coming up to 5? I could tell you how many times that I've hit it and I need to check my securement. So, and it takes over 30 minutes to go around and check your equipment to get back on the road, to keep everybody else around us safe. So 30 minutes, in my opinion, as a truck driver, needs to be an hour to make sure everybody else around us is safe.
So 1 hour is what we proposed on the
For
north side.
commercial vehicles,
Yeah,
okay?
well, it's for, the 1 hour would apply to all vehicles.
Okay, and then my other suggestion is, I understand the food trucks are an issue. Again, as a truck driver working in Hollywood, and most of the times when you park somewhere, they mark your tires, and once that time limit, they just move forward, mark your tires again, so they could keep moving and moving, correct? Up, down Crown Valley, or is that something you
Yeah.
could change?
The way the ordinance is, that would defeat the intent, is to keep a nice flow. They're just moving up the block.
Yeah, so just something for you guys to think about, how the rules apply.
Changing that would require another county ordinance. which
Yeah.
would be a big project. It's something that we've talked about, like, you know, you might have to require that moving a specific distance or something like that. It's been discussed. Right now, we're focusing heavily on the non-department vehicle ordinance expansion, so we can only focus on so many efforts at once. But that is something that, you know, ultimately we would like to potentially address.
So that being said, keep your trailer in your driveway, because they're just gonna move forward.
No, I'm gonna take up the whole parking area right there.
Yeah, the rest is painted red right now, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm long enough at 22 and 22, 44 feet.
So, yeah, you can't do that if you want to.
So why can't we put a tow requirement in on this 1 hour limit? Because then you
We
could
could,
tow them.
we could.
Then you could tow them.
So-
Then they
so
get
that
them
would-
scoffing at the ticket they get every day.
So for the towway, we could not put that in 2 months. That would require it to get the formal board approval. You can't put in
Okay.
towway through it. We can't take a shortcut for towway.
Let's start small, and then we'll go
However,
big.
if they're inside, if someone's inside of a vehicle, I don't believe you can tow it.
Yeah, we wouldn't do.
So if they're working
So we
inside
gotta
the truck,
trip
you
them
can't
out.
tow the truck there.
We'll call.
Did you drop
So,
that?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, if the, let's say the food truck was ticketed for being there longer than an hour, the 1 hour was implemented, it's a $63 ticket, you said, right? And there, I understand they're only, by law, you can only ticket them once in a 24-hour period. So technically, you could receive the ticket, never move, and stay there the rest of the day, and not incur any more tickets that day. And does the fine escalate if he's in the same area every day, and he's got a ticket every day for 2 weeks? Does it ever get any worse, or does it just be $63 a day?
It's
for-
generally 63. It's not hard and fast that it's only one per day. It's been generally the policy of the department to issue for that one, issue once every 24 hours, once every day, so it doesn't look like we're just trying to scoff as much money into our coffers as possible. Now, there are circumstances where maybe we perceived, some issue of safety. Parking enforcement deputy shows up at the beginning of the shift, they write somebody for a fire hydrant and said, hey, you need to get this moved, I'm gonna come by and check at noon, you need to get out of here. Yeah, I'll move it. I'm gonna write you another ticket. We could justify that, but that's atypical to what we do. So hard and fast, no, not one per day, but it is the general guidelines, just to try to see
So-
everybody's.
Okay,
If
so.
he's a chronic
so
violator?
it's a- Yeah.
Nothing escalates.
It's a policy, right?
Yeah.
It's a guideline.
Yeah.
So it has no basis in law, there's no requirement. You could write 200 tickets a day if you wanted to, under the law. And I get you don't want to be accused of harassing people or whatever, except for when they're parking where they are and it's causing a line of sight difficulties. You know, what do we have to do to request that this policy be revised under certain circumstances such as scofflaws, as this gentleman just said, that they're perpetrating it on purpose and causing this dangerous situation?
Yeah. And again, I don't think that the sheriff would be too apt to do that, because it's gonna put the ramifications going on all the other violations. It's gonna kick up so much mess, and it's gonna go, you're just trying to, they're gonna overlook the frustration and the problematic issues that's making. They're gonna focus on parking enforcement, just trying to make another dollar for the county. I don't think that's the prudent way to go. Looking at maybe, as soon as they have time, perhaps looking at adjusting a one-up, as the lady that drives trucks says, an hour is more practical and fair to them. To maybe maybe we can adopt a 1 hour parking that says for vending vehicles or commercial vehicles or whatever the case, or all vehicles, you have to move X amount of yards or blocks from your first citation. But that would mean adopting a new ordinance, not running off the existing. As it stands right now, you get 1 ticket for 1 hour or whatever, and you're pretty much, set for the day. So we probably look at avenues of modifying a new ordinance to address that, as opposed to giving someone 15 tickets every 30 minutes.
I feel like we're trying to tap this from, I'm not gonna say the bottom, because you guys aren't the bottom, definitely not, but.
Trying to simplify it
Here
into
at the
just a
bottom,
simple task.
We're the bottom.
Right.
But we're trying to get your help in fixing an issue that really needs to be fixed at the top.
Right.
And so we need Catherine Barger.
To convince the other supervisors to
Yeah.
set fire to every. Yeah.
They have ordinance, they have regulations in the incorporated parts of LA County. All we're asking for is they create some sort of framework for the
Well, as
unincorporated
Ms.
areas.
Air said, you can't have those canopies. Those canopies are operators are illegal under state law.
Right.
Yes, but we've gotta get.
But what about the food trucks?
When you approach that guy, he pulls out his camera and he goes on TikTok and he calls you a racist.
I'm sure he does, yes.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
And there's the regulations
But
that are, the
those food
regulations
trucks,
that are in
those food
city
trucks are not
areas.
illegal, so that's the
The
canopies
regulations
are.
that are in like areas that are incorporated are that they can only, the food trucks can't be within so many feet of a brick and mortar
No,
business.
no,
Yes.
and that's not
600
allowable.
feet is
That's
like
not
the
allowable
usual.
under state law anymore. I don't know what the ordinance say, but it's not allowable. The state law says you cannot restrict those food sales in comparison to brick and mortar.
When did that change?
6 years ago?
There's a couple of propositions that went through within the past
Yeah,
couple of years.
it's not, but state law has changed a couple of times to make it easier or to remove enforcement on food vendors. And that's where our problem got to be. It used to be Deputy Martinez and his comrades could cite people and say, no, can't be here on a sidewalk, can't be doing this. And that state law changed.
Then how does Santa Clarita and how does Palmdale keep them out of there?
They don't keep them out. Haven't you ever driven through that? Lancaster tells me, Lancaster in fact will seize equipment from the operators. There's a food vendor that sets up on the corner of the entrance into Costco and Avenue L. He's there all the time. He's on the sidewalk. He's in, and so they will seize his stuff and he either bails it out or he buys new stuff and he's back there again.
And then every time he has to bail it out, the price should be going up,
Well, and so
with
I don't know.
repeated violations.
Yeah,
It's-
so,
you guys
yeah, so
are-
I deal with Lancaster all the time, and Palmdale's got them all over the place.
Yeah, but Palmdale used to have vendors up and down the 130, up Paradise Highway, up and down there. We counted, I think, 21 times we were
So
going.
the-
And now, there's like 1 or 2 here.
Well,
and
so
there.
the main part of Pear Blossom Highway where they're there was the county, and we got rid of them by putting in K-rails, because it was such a dangerous spot, so that's what we did on that.
Yeah.
There's a bunch over in Little Rock now, and that's Caltrans right away, and so we have no way of getting Public Works involved to do that, because it's their area, but
So is it county policy to not confiscate the equipment?
it is certainly public health policy not to confiscate
Okay,
equipment.
so I have a question. So that policy has not been established by the board, it's been established
It's
by,
been accepted by the board majority,
through some vote or some?
just by, well, I don't know how, but that's what it is.
Well, effectively by not saying that they need to
Yeah.
do it, they're.
Yeah.
No, but if they actually
Don't-
said,
correct,
if there was an affirmative action, I wanna look at it. So-
Yeah, I don't think there has been a vote that says you shall not do it, but.
But there's been nothing the
that's-
other way either. It says
There's
you
nothing
should.
the other way, yeah.
One more and then we're gonna probably.
I have a question as far as, when you issue a ticket, okay, hypothetically, is it going to the company or is it going to the driver of that mobile kitchen? Because here's one thing, if you wanna escalate it, as a truck driver with DOT number, my insurance will go through the roof if I get a ticket, if I even get a driver who pulls in and gets an inspection on the truck.
Are you
If I
talking about
issue
a
insurance.
code site or a
No.
parking site?
If you're gonna give him a parking ticket,
It's just like any other vehicle, it goes to the owner of the registered.
the owner, so you can escalate it, that's one way it could be escalated. If they're gonna continue to get tickets, they're gonna lose their insurance, they're gonna get points on their
But
license.
that doesn't apply to parking tickets, that's just moving violations, right?
Can you make the change though, if this is gonna be a mobile kitchen, because obviously the complaint is these food trucks.
Parking tickets aren't moving, if they're parked, they can't be in a moving
The
violation.
state declassified it 18 years ago to be just like a civil violation. It's not until you move up the ladder, does it even get introduced to the court system and become an issue. And again, you're still dealing with the vehicle, not the person who's driving the points. They never relate.
And they don't have DOT numbers because they're under a weight class.
So one other thing brought up was, like escalating tickets, like do they get higher if you keep on violating? But my understanding is they just continue to, if they continue to pay them all on time, it will just stay the same price. If they don't pay them, then they're gonna start escalating, but unfortunately, they're just paying the $63 every
It's like
day.
they're renting
and
the
then-
spot for $63.
But that's something we could potentially look at in the long term, county ordinance, that, you know, if they get more than 10 tickets every day for 10 days, at some point it should be going up, right? They're,
Well, repeat violators, they're disrespecting the law. They know
Right.
they shouldn't be
Right.
parked there more
Right.
than an hour, if there's an hour time. They've been ticketed.
also the fines haven't gone up in a long time either, so that kind of, you know,
Okay, one more and then we're gonna.
sure.
Is there any kind of ordinance within the county relative to food trucks? I know I've seen in different areas, maybe in, not in unincorporated areas, but where they actually have a sign that says food trucks are not allowed.
I believe the Department of Economic Opportunity is exploring some street vending signs at this moment. They had some that were using before that were supposedly by some of the state laws became not enforceable anymore. But now they're exploring some other signs in certain specific areas. I don't really know too much about it. I couldn't really speak to it, but I have to check with the Department of Economic Opportunity about that.
Or we can just get K-rails, right?
I see spike rates, I'm telling you.
I'm liking Jeremiah's idea, spikes.
Tires get expensive.
That's the CHP for a moment.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so
Thank you
much
so much
for
for
coming,
coming.
I really appreciate it, we all do. And Stephen, thank you so much for your time.
Sure.
Really,
And thank you for your work.
you've just been awesome, truly.
Sure.
All right, next item is LED stop signs at Sierra and Crown Valley.
So we've been asked by Public Works, Public Works has offered to make the stop sign at Sierra Highway and Crown Valley be, I believe, just the stop line and the stop sign. The one in Sierra to be LED lights. Yes, Sierra and Crown, yes, and they were asking what the town council thinks about it, and so as a correspondence secretary, I responded, I think we talked about it here at the meeting tonight, and some input from people, so that's what this agenda item's all about.
Yeah.
So I live, like, you guys, I go to my volunteer job at 4.5. I have watched maybe 4 or 5 cars every single time I'm trying to cross that street. Blow through that stop sign. Since they have put those flashing lights up, I haven't seen it.
Oh.
Really?
That's what that is great.
So
Anecdotal evidence,
it's
because I've
like,
been curious
it's
whether.
noticeably, because I used to drive around by plants.
So that's why they
Yeah.
put this.
We've been pushing for
Yeah,
something,
so that really helps them, and it helps light up that intersection, so it's not so dark. But to do nothing or do that, do that.
It took us maybe 4 years to get to the point where we got the LEDs there. I mean, talking about the problems, how it starts at 4:30 in the morning, that 2-lane road becomes a 4-lane. And 3 of the lanes are all going in the morning.
Oh, yeah, I've come home like 3:30, 4 o'clock, so by the time I get here, it's almost 5, and I'm coming down Sierra Highway headed towards Santiago from Crown, and they're driving on the wrong side of the street.
Oh, yeah, it's nuts.
And I'm in the dirt.
And it's like, it's
So I don't do
like
that anymore, so.
made up lanes, so, but they, Public Works, you know, we had a lot of discussion discussions with them, and then they said, hey, we can do this, and we were like, oh, that.
It has been noticeable.
Oh, we will tell, is Josie on? Josie, did you hear that? That was,
I'm here.
So, did you hear
I'm
what
listening.
they said, that the flashing stoplight at Santiago has made a huge difference on commuter behavior. So-
That's great to hear.
Yeah, we're so thankful, and Josie's probably the one person that really made that happen. So now, they said, hey, how about you guys want it at Crown Valley?
Yes.
So we can't just say yes, we need to present it.
You know, I live at the freeway off ramp, so like she just said, every morning about 5:30 in the morning, I turn right from Antelope Woods onto Crown Valley. And as I get right past the on-ramp to the freeway, because I'm going south, okay, everybody gets off on the freeway right there, and they immediately cut over to go southbound on Sierra Highway. And most of the time, they don't stop at that off-ramp light.
So what we can do is, unfortunately, that off-ramp is controlled by Caltrans, and we have a hard time dealing with them, but if we give Public Works this good input on the Santiago, we get it at Crown Valley, maybe Public Works would help us engage with Caltrans
Yeah.
to get them to be flashing signs too.
Yeah, because that person basically is making right, but they're going across 3 lanes of traffic to get immediately into the left turn lane for the south.
Yeah.
Yeah, we run into the same problem when you ride a bike, you're coming off of Sierra Highway, make a right on Crown Valley, you're coming out from the shadow of the bridge, and these people just
Oh, it's
go right
dangerous.
through and you.
It's scary.
Maybe we can borrow Conrad's so he goes less than 30 miles an hour.
They have to have a speed limit, it's down 40
Oh,
miles an
okay.
hour.
Yeah.
So I'm worried for that, it was 50, which is crazy, but, so, I don't,
Happy about that.
yes, thank you so much, that is so good to hear.
I know.
So, I haven't typed this motion in, Kelly, I'm sorry, but it should be, does anybody else have any?
Anybody not want it? Who's like, I don't want the flashes.
Nobody's saying, okay, awesome.
All right, so I move that we tell Public Works, thumbs up on the flashing signs. Flashing signs. At Crown Valley and Sierra Highway. LED signs. Yeah, exactly.
I have other ones too that I would like.
Oh, yeah,
Joey,
yeah.
one second.
So, we're gonna talk about other places, under the committee reports, because of what public comments.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So that's a big yes. I will tell Public Works that, or Josie, you can tell them too. Yeah, actually, enthusiastic, yes, thank you.
I will, can I make a comment, that's not on the agenda, but FYI, the request for multi-way stop control at Antelope Woods Road and Crown Valley Road, the study was completed, and we are recommending to install the all-way stop control.
Wow, so that'll help your office.
So right now, we're basically preparing the estimate, the request for funding, but I just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
Thank you. That'll make the schools a lot safer.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It would also be nice if people can't get off the freeway
Yeah.
and turn left into our way.
Correct, yeah.
Because I think that's what the kid was killed on the bike, on the
Yes.
motorcycle.
That's true.
And
But,
that's where we lost almost lost one of our teachers. I mean,
Yeah.
that is so dangerous right there.
yeah,
So
I mean,
that's.
I get off that, I ride a motorcycle, and I've gotten off that because I go home, Antelope Woods.
Yeah.
And people will stop right there to make the left turn, and it says right there, you know, the people at Arco said exit only,
Yep,
but
they don't care.
they don't care, and the traffic coming there,
Yeah.
coming down the other way, is just going, they're not doing the 45, they're doing 60.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, so,
Josie, have you, talked to the school district about it, or I will email, Superintendent Saki tomorrow, but.
I don't, well, I haven't spoken with the school district, but, I'll
Sure, I'll ask our traffic people to make sure they, provide the info.
Okay, I will copy you on the email I send to the superintendent, and I'll tell him your name and ask him to, coordinate with you on that if they have any questions. Is that
That's
all right?
fine.
Okay. Yay, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, it's just a good news. Yeah.
That is really good.
All right. Next up, zone change request for the charging station.
Okay, so we don't have any information on this other than a couple of weeks ago, an application was submitted for property across from Desert. I think it's Desert Road or McHenry. I think it's Desert Road. So it's between, yes, between Soledad Canyon, I'm sorry, Sierra Highway and the freeway, that strip.
That the one where they serious has?
And it illegally, and I don't know if the NOV, anything came from the NOV that was supposed to have been on it. But now they want to change the zoning so it can be a EV charging station place for, obviously freeway travelers, so it's gonna be a freeway service business, and there's probably gonna be fast food and storage too. Although they didn't say that.
Yeah, but doing nothing from.
Yes, exactly. So, I just wanted the council to know about this application, this community to know about this application. I haven't had a chance to ask for a Public Records Act request for a copy of the application, but as soon as I do that and we get the information, we will post it on the website. It's just another freeway serving business.
No, we already have 2 charging stations here in town. We have the one near the library and then there's one in Benson Hill.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3
Yeah, those-
charging stations in Benson Hill.
Yeah.
And then at Lake Congo, there's a festival. It knows outside active.
Right, we have 2.
So that's 3 weeks.
So I didn't know that, so maybe we should know that.
As soon as we get open, it's what's no, it's in here, if they have,
Yeah, I remember you said it. I bet they're on the.
Thanks, Ken.
So I will ask about the, I'll ask for information, because there'll be a site plan of it, and we can post it on the website. All right.
Okay, that's a.
Nice.
That would be good.
Even though I have a big mouth, but. So everybody knows that we won our lawsuit, right?
Yes. Well done.
But we're still waiting on word whether Fullmark will appeal. The October 14th court case was ruled in our favor, but the judge still has to make his final judgment, which doesn't change anything, it's just he has to kind of put the button on it. And then that starts a 30-day time clock for Hecate Fullmark, to file an appeal. Kind of expect them to, but you never know. I don't know really what they would appeal, because it's not much to do. Anyway, we've successfully stopped this project as proposed with lithium iron phosphate batteries, which that was the whole goal, was to stop battery energy storage that uses dangerous batteries, right? So this was a huge victory for us. But there's always a chance they could reinvent themselves and come back with an alternative and a safe battery in the future, and reapply with the county to build on the same M1 property. So safe batteries do exist, and they're those which are not risky or fire prone or toxic when they burn. And if they burned, it would be most likely because they were encroached upon by a brush fire, not because they started a fire themselves. So they can be safely deployed in large buildings, similar to the existing indoor storage facility on Soledad Canyon, kind of up from La Cabana. You see that big indoor storage facility, looks western on the outside, it's very nice. Safe batteries can be put in a large building like that, and the building can be painted beige or whatever, can be made to look like it blends in more with our surroundings. So even if they reinvent themselves and they come back with safe batteries, we can't look at that as being defeated, because we won. The win was to knock down the project with lithium-ion unsafe batteries, right? Plus, you can landscape around those buildings, and it softens the impact of them too. And while it would still be an industrial project, it would no longer be a safety issue for our community, and therefore should not potentially affect property values nor fire insurance premiums. So So, if they were to do an end run, with this project and come back with safe modified batteries, we still have to look at this as a victory for Acton because we forced them to remove the fire safety and health threat to our community. This has always been about stopping lithium-ion batteries, so just keep that in mind. And in addition, this safe modified BEST project would then sort of serve as a model of what can and should be sited in proximity of homes by a community. So it would sort of like be a blinding light to the Prairie Song, which is a huge facility that's being proposed, also using lithium iron phosphate batteries. But if the Humidor was to come back with safe batteries, then the CEC might say to the Prairie Song, well, gee, this developer was willing to change over, maybe you need to rethink your project. We're hoping we can just get rid of that project and make them go out in the boonies where they belong. If they don't belong near homes, period. It's just too big. But like I'm saying, we have to be prepared for the fact that Humidor might rear its ugly head again, but it would not come back as a lithium iron phosphate project unless the county best siting ordinance was written so that it was allowed. They haven't come forward with their draft yet, so we're still kind of waiting on that. Don't know why they haven't come forward with the draft, but we're suspecting that it has something to do with this Hecate thing still not being settled in court, totally, 100%.
But you know, I just wanna emphasize that,
Sure.
it's really, you know, the Angelino project is just so huge, it's like 5 times bigger or more than the Humidor project, it's a mile long. And, you know, town council's written letters, in the CEC docket, and a lot of residents have, but that would be, you know, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to convince the CEC to not approve that project, but if we could get them to tell the the developer that if you're gonna put it in this place, it has to be non-lithium, that would be huge. I appreciate you pointing that out, because I think that is amazing.
Yeah, because the general consensus across the state, across the country has been that everything can be lithium ion, or lithium iron phosphate, supposedly they were safer. But, it's going to take a couple developers to finally realize that, do I wanna build my project and get it built and get it online, or do I wanna end up fighting a community, tied up in opposition, maybe tied up in court, because I'm trying to force lithium ion battery chemistry in there. And I'm thinking that once a few developers start to realize that in the end, it's gonna be better for them to propose a safe battery chemistry. Because these batteries have now gotten a lot more comparable to the lithium ion technology. The density is better. In some cases, they have a better lifespan. They're cheaper to run. There's batteries that are water cooled or fluid cooled, and they don't require the big HVAC system. So in the long term, it saves the developer money trying to cool the system down. There's less points of failure because you're not worried about the system overheating. Anyway, there's a lot of pluses to these other types of batteries, and the industry is quickly coming up with new alternatives, and they're able to scale up to the larger facilities. So fingers crossed, if we ever get stuck with one of these things, hope we don't, but if we ever get stuck with one, let's pray that we get one that's got safe batteries and not this lithium ion.
Have you heard of the solid state battery system?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I just read an article in the LA Times about Toyota's coming up with it in 2027.
Right.
And it's supposed to extend the rate to 745 miles on one charge.
For EVs, yeah.
That's 10 to 80% charge in 10 minutes.
Right.
Is that a safe alternative?
Yeah, solid state is, and it's being highly considered in the EV market. I don't know about, its viability in the best yet, but there's flow, iron flow, there's redox, vanadium flow, there's, bromine, with zinc bromine. There's so many now that they're all trying to compete, and, sodium ion, is in pretty stiff competition with, lithium ion and lithium iron phosphate.
And neither of those require flammable electrolyte.
Right, it's a huge step in the right direction. So we are definitely forcing the hand of the energy industry. So I think Acton should be very proud that we've stood together on this and forced this, because the humidor has been approved since August of 2023. Well, first it was August of 2022, and the town council successfully overturned that approval, and then it got reapproved in 2023. So for more than 2 years now, they have been trying to get that project online, but because of our little community standing in the way, it hasn't happened. So kudos to you guys. There's 3 more projects, which is why this safe battery thing is so important. There's 3 more projects that are gonna be battery energy storage. They're proposed to connect to the Vincent substation. Of course, it's in the ISO, California Independent System Operator queue. And they never give you any information other than where they're gonna be located, how big the project's going to be, and what technology it's going to use. So it's gonna be batteries, it's gonna be connected to the 500 or the 230 kV lines at the Vincent substation in Los Angeles County, and that's all they tell you. So we don't know if those projects are gonna be in Acton, or if they're gonna be 20 miles away from Acton and still connecting to our substations. We don't know. And we don't have any way of finding out until they probably file an application somewhere, either with the CEC or with LA County. So that's why
It is scary, those were just approved in the cluster.
just approved in Cluster 15, the most recent group of projects released.
So that's like a total of 7 that we are in
It's
this area.
ridiculous. It's just nuts. So, like I said, the battery thing is really important, because if we do end up with one project and it ends up being safe battery chemistry, then we can point to that and say, well, you know, if they can do it, why can't you do it?
And then on top of that, we can also say, hey, okay, you guys are supposed to be looking at overconcentration in this ordinance. So you've met our quota.
We've got enough.
This
Yeah.
humidor is enough to serve a million homes, or I can't remember how much. So it's like, you know what? There's only 6,000 of us here in Acton, so I think we've borne enough urban burden here.
Yeah, and, you know, let's hope we don't get any projects, that's what I know.
Well, yeah.
You know, let's hope we don't get in, let's hope that they all decide that Acton's just a giant pain in the butt, and I mean nice, a giant pain in the butt, and that they just don't wanna deal with us. And so they would rather go out to the desert, because there is no reason why they can't be located further away. They'll try to tell you that they can't provide service unless they're right next to the substation, but that is such a lie. It's a total lie.
For them, it's running the cable
Yes,
is
no,
expensive, but you can't tell me that you can't do it.
It's
gonna
actually,
cost you a
it's
little
actually
more.
not. Something was filed today with the CEC, and they're talking about the alternatives for the Angelino Best. And it's putting it out, and there's a 26 square mile area.
Prairie Song is the Angelino.
Yeah, sorry, Prairie Song. Just east of the Plant 42. The whole area is zoned for industrial use. Residential use is completely prohibited. It's all vacant, although there's some irrigated areas. Most of it's owned by the city of LA. And you could put it all there, the zoning's proper, it's industrially zoned, heavy industrial zone. No residences. There is a 500 kV corridor, 6 miles due south. It's got 5 500 kV transmission lines and a 220 kV transmission line. They could do with franchise agreements from that location down to the existing corridor, upgrade the 220 to double circuit 500, and boom, no widening the corridor. The thing would cost less than $50 million. That whole thing for the Angelino Best, they're planning on spending over $1.75 billion. So the 50 million is a drop in the bucket.
Right.
And it was pointed out that under CEQA, you can't say an alternative, you can't reject an alternative because it's more expensive. It has to be so much more expensive that the entire project is fiscally unfeasible. And if not, 50 million ain't nothing.
Right.
On 1.7. Well, I mean, it's a lot to all of us, but if we had 1.75 billion, it wouldn't be.
Okay, so full disclosure, that document that she's talking about that was filed today in the Prairie Song docket, she is calling the Angelino, but it's Prairie Song now, was filed by SORT, Save Our Rural Town. And let's just say that that person that wrote that, it was a masterpiece. It was, I can't even tell you how many times I was like cheering while I was reading it. So, it tears apart a lot of the Prairie Song developer arguments in their application process. They were making a lot of arguments about locations and ripped it to shreds. She ripped it to shreds and then came up with locations. I think actually the sort should be paid for coming up with these locations because they're gonna have to send their guys out to find locations when we kicked Prairie Song out of Acton. And now all they have to do is pick one of these ones that sort picked out for them.
Yeah, because they really can't, under CEQA, the CEC can't approve a project that has significant tax.
Yes.
Can I say something real quick? The Chinese government are the largest manufacturers of lithium ion. And they have got so much invested in this, they're pumping billions of dollars into this country to keep that technology going. But the amount of problems that we've had with them, and now they're starting to panic because these other companies now are starting to come up with a safer.
I hope so. Go down to God's ears.
And these safe batteries, a lot of them are being manufactured in America because they're not requiring the same critical minerals that the lithium batteries require. So we don't have to go to China to get all this lithium and mining in the Congo to get the cobalt and all that stuff. So these batteries are safe ingredients that if they did burn in a brush fire, they're not gonna environmentally damage our area, and they're not gonna toxify anything. So fingers crossed, it's like the tide is starting to turn, the light bulb's starting to go on in the energy industry that they need to make a change because the opposition is getting stiff. Now, let's talk about stiff opposition. In 2023, when the CEC first started their opt-in program, AB 205 opened this opt-in program, and it was to accelerate projects through the state, energy projects. The first one to jump in was the Fountain Wind Project, which is a wind turbine project that was denied not once but twice in Shasta County. The county was against it, residents were against it, it was denied, it was appealed, it was denied again. They went running to the CEC, oh, I'm gonna just get a shoe in here because it's the state, right? That project was tied up for 2 years in the state process and it was just denied. Denied. December 19th, they put the knife in it and it was done. And it was based on community comments, opposition from this county, opposition from the residents. It was based on aerial firefighting being restricted in the area. It was based on not conforming with the local regulations and standards. So it was a combination of things, but the comments from the residents and the county meant a lot to the CEC. They listened to the opposition and they took it to heart. Now, so that's the Fountain Wind project. But there's another BESS project called the Compass that had applied down in San Juan Capistrano that was also being opposed viciously by the residents, by the local government. It was gonna be on Saddleback Church property, and the church had no idea what they were signing over to have built there. They just said, oh yeah, you wanna use our property? Sure. They had no idea what this energy storage was really about, and also the railroad is right there, and so there was lots of, there was a congressman that stood up against it, there was a retired LA County fire chief that stood up against it, there was an Orange County Firefighters Union that stood up against it, so it had a lot of opposition, and the CEC listened, and I think they sort of whispered in the developer's ear, this ain't gonna happen here. So you might wanna, like, sharpen your pencil and rethink your location. And so what happened was the developer pushed pause and said, we'd like to stop our process right now, right where it is, and we're gonna go vet other locations. And they relinquished the property back to Saddleback Church. So, and when you read about why the developer has chosen to do this, he said because the public outcry was overwhelming. I mean, they were relentless with their letters, and I'm gonna keep the whip out, keep asking you guys for letters, comments, they don't have to be long, they just gotta be there, that's all I care about. Because it's the number of, when the CEC looks and sees, 200 comments from a little community like this, that's gonna mean something, it really is. I mean, I can do so much, SORT can do so much, but we need the community to do their job too, and that means you guys have to keep opposing this project with your comments. So, that was in December, both of those projects were canceled, so it was very encouraging. And the fact that they're paying attention to community response and fire dangers. The Compass one in San Juan Capistrano was in a high fire hazard severity zone. We are a very high fire hazard severity zone, so we're more severe and.
And that location had water.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Angelino project has no water, and the developer's water resources report just talks about, oh, we have a domestic well and that'll serve for sanitary purposes. And it's like, no, LA County's going to require fire hydrants everywhere in this plant, it's a mile long.
They were gonna have 2 hydrants, or two tanks.
Yeah, there were 2 tanks, they were like the little hydrants that we have on our homes,
Yeah,
right?
right, residential,
Tanks. It's like
40,000 gallon tanks, and
No,
one well.
One residential, it's an existing well on it, probably the house is using right
So
now.
what are they smoking? I don't know.
Yeah, and isn't part of the problem that you can't put water on that fire? You have to put like that chemical gel stuff?
Well, no, actually, the approved way to fight those fires is not to put anything on the fire itself, to let the fire burn itself out, because if you put anything on it, any battery cells that are not already involved become involved, because now you're short circuiting with moisture and whatnot.
Yeah, and that's what they told the CEC, we don't need water to do it with the fire out, but you use a lot of water because you wet everything down.
down.
You kill it all.
All the adjacent
Containers
containers.
Yeah, because the certification saying we won't catch more than 1 container on fire is only legitimate
Famous
for
last words.
areas that have wind speeds of less than 12 miles an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And if these projects are spewing whatever they're spewing when they're burning, even if they're not putting water directly on that active fire,
You're not
if
getting
they're knocking down particulate into the ground, and those projects are sitting on concrete slabs, those containers are on concrete slabs, and they've got gravel, it's permeable. So that water can carry that particulate to the soil, and eventually it gets to our groundwater. So they can tell us all they wanna tell us, but you know what, they can't pull the wool over our eyes, we've done too much homework. We've done too much research.
Do you think there's anyone who's a retired fire, person who could, like they did for, San Juan Capistrano, somebody who lives in that town now, who's retired, is there anybody that we could reach out to?
Don't we have a couple sitting right there?
I would never put anyone on this, but I mean, or a retiree.
So we have a representative from LA City and LA County sitting right here, old timers. I could probably squeeze a letter out of each one of them, even if I had to write it.
But I think you didn't just say that.
Jackie?
But I mean,
Seriously?
I mean, would it be helpful, if it was helpful to?
I think that would be helpful. I know that we've spoken with firefighters that are active duty, and they don't like these things.
They can't say anything.
They can't say anything to their command, but they're nervous about it.
Are there fire department unions who would speak?
Maybe.
I don't know how to approach them, I don't know who they are.
Yeah, I mean, because that's what, for Capistrano,
Yeah, that was.
they had a union that wrote the letter. That way everybody just kind of like, nobody got,
Yeah, what he said.
yeah, nobody got time off.
Because this is
or-
like so much bigger than Capistrano, and it's in a very high fire hazard area, and there's no water.
This is like the biggest, the Prairie Song is like the biggest, best, I think, proposed to date in the nation.
Oh, wow.
It's twice as big as the biggest one ever proposed. So it's not just the biggest, it's twice as big as the next biggest.
And we have a fire department of, how many here? 4?
Yeah.
On a good day? On a good day?
Yeah.
And they're sitting in the blue chair,
And they're in the blue
they're
chair.
not getting
Having
out.
a nap, having a hard nap.
And are these the same ones that have to be the optimal temperature is 70 degrees?
Yes,
And we don't have 70-degree weather here, how many days out of
exactly,
the year?
and dust,
That's what kills me is in Beijing, they had a big fire at a mall that had lithium iron phosphate batteries, and it blew up. It killed a firefighter, it maimed another firefighter, and the guy that was, the system operator that worked for the battery company, they can't find him. He just like evaporated. And a month later, when I read the fire department report on it, the investigative report on it, they still had not accounted for that employee. So, it was like he was vaporized, we don't know, but, they're talking about, they thought that dust might have gotten in there, dust got in there and shorted out those batteries. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you.
So, no, we don't live in a dusty environment, do we? You know, there are so many things that have to be mitigated to keep these batteries from, it's not even the battery itself that starts the issue sometimes. Sometimes it's a supporting batteries management system, sometimes it's the weather, sometimes it's water encroachment. Oh, it rained heavy, the wind was blowing. Oh, look, now it's in there and it's on the batteries and it started a problem. I mean, there's so many reasons why these batteries can go up in smoke. We just need to have batteries that if they went up in smoke for any reason, that they're not toxic, right? That they can be put out in a reasonable amount of time, like a normal fire. So, all right, anyway, my last.
Rain and dust?
What?
Wind, rain and
Oh,
dust?
yeah, we don't have any of that.
It's an optional environment here.
So one last thing is, the Castaic Town Council was given the unpleasant surprise, as well as their residents, that there was a similar, a small 15 megawatt lithium iron phosphate, BESS approved in their town back in June, and I don't think they found out about it until in September. It was kind of a similar story to what happened with us with the Humidor, that we weren't really aware that it was in the process, we weren't really aware that it had been approved until August 2022, when they came, the developer came here, with some regional planning people and addressed our town council, and it's like, oh, by the way, it's approved and it's going before the board tomorrow. Yeah, so Castaic is dealing with that same thing on a much smaller scale, but it was approved ministerially, like the Humidor, basically utilizing the same interpretation memo that the county created and then used to ministerially approve Humidor, which we just knocked the legs out from under in court. So technically, this project could be overturned based on that interpretation memo no longer being valid and being able to be applied to this project. So it's just a matter of somebody raising a lawsuit to do it. So anyway, Castaic Town Council's not happy, residents are not happy. We'll see what they do, but that project is right on the off-ramp. As you're coming, I think it's the Parker Road off-ramp, you get off, and it's Castaic Canyon Road, it's right up to Parker. So the facility is between the freeway and the, Castaic Canyon. Yeah, and then there's a big recreation facility here with a big pool.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, oh, and in the process of digging, they've already hit a gas line they didn't know was there. So anyway.
That wasn't that big explosion that just happened?
No, not the same.
That was
Could have been, but no, it wasn't the same one. Anyway, does anybody have any questions? Because that's it, that's all I have.
That's a lot.
Is that it?
Could you tell us, we've had two property owners, they're just trying to build homes, right? One said he can't build his house in his ranch until he puts in a $500,000 emergency standby generator for Waterworks District. This other poor woman, so far away from county water, the county won't give her a will not serve letter, because at the profile, she's within 1,000 feet, but if you go by the road, she's well over 1,000 feet. It's nuts what the county's doing on people, just trying to build a home. We got the county approving, rubber stamping, massive 16 pump gas stations in our most critical intersection with fast food and convenience stores. Rubber stamping, and we can't even, people can't even build a home.
No, our
It's
water
nuts.
is a very big issue, and, it affects so many people down the line. So I'll be working on that for sure, and I don't know if you guys are or not, but those are my concerns.
Well, we aren't at the moment, but
you know, we don't work on anything until we hear from people. I mean, we see the stuff the county's doing, right? But other stuff, people need to.
We need our
And
water.
we can't, well, we have no power, we can't make any changes, but we can certainly advocate. But it's always helpful when people who are experiencing the problem have done as much homework as they can, because
And
there are a lot of things going on.
The example that I have is there's a well on a property, can't find a well completion report, because it's probably from the eighties or the seventies.
Yeah, and all those records burned down, they
And
were
now
all
you,
stored in
and
the.
you have to have it, and then say you find it, and then you have a 20-foot sanitation seal, now you have to have a 50-foot sanitation seal. So they won't use it, so are they gonna make us abandon it, and drill a new well, and it's like, come on, stop it.
Are they imposing these new requirements when a house changes owners?
Not
Because
yet.
we were told.
Not yet.
So how
No.
is an existing well subject to new requirements? We've been always
To
told.
build a house. They can't build without it.
Oh, so, I see, okay.
So then, again, so one more time, what happens to the value of our land, right? It's very frustrating. Thank you.
Thank you. Other non-agendized.
My name is Lou D'Alessandro. I've been a resident of Acton for 22 years. You know, in 22 years, I have yet to see Caltrans pick the garbage up off their property that we have to look at when we drive through town. It's a miracle if they pick it up off the freeway. Once it's out of sight, it's out of mind. But if it's out of sight, off the top of the freeway, we see it from our community. The only way it leaves if it rots.
Where, can you give me an idea where this is that you're talking about, where the trash
The
is?
entire town.
Oh.
If you look as you drive down Escondido, or you drive down Soledad Canyon Road, any road adjacent to the freeway, okay? They don't do anything as far as maintenance, it's their property. You know, we have a cleanup crew in Acton that goes around and cleans up, forget her name, it's Tammy. She has a very unique name.
She's very forgettable.
Yeah. And that's wonderful, but Tammy's not going on the freeway property.
No. So you're
You can't
talking
go on the
about
freeway
the
property.
trash in the
So-
right of way, the Caltrans right of way.
We have to look at it, we can't touch it. It's their property. They need to maintain it. Then you've got areas down Escondido Canyon Road, between, just, let's see, look at the, south of the high school, okay? You've got areas that vehicles took out the Caltrans fencing.
Yeah.
You've got hundreds of feet of it, and it's flattened. They've never done anything to replace it. The barbed wire that runs on it sticks out into the roadway. If you're a cyclist trying to get away from traffic and you wanna ride on the area that's paved, it's sticking out, you're gonna get snagged. Okay? Caltrans is worthless when it comes to our community. It's their freeway. Once it leaves the side of the top of the freeway, they don't see it. They don't care.
So you're talking about the portion of Escondido that's west of the high school?
Yes.
And it's their fence and their barbed wire
Correct.
that actually protrude.
Correct. It's
Protrudes
a couple hundred
into
feet.
into Escondido.
I haven't
Okay, all right.
measured it, but I'm gonna guess it's probably about 200 feet. There's actually two areas where it's mowed down.
Are you talking about under the freeway there on Red Rover?
No, past Red Rover.
Past Red
We're
Rover.
talking right on Escondido itself.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that the backside of that property, the entry?
Yes, it's over around that area.
Okay, because we did get Caltrans, they were really good about, they cleaned that whole mess up that was there, about 6,700 block, I think, of Escondido. They did clean that up, and then they put up dirt berms, and my understanding is they're in the process of figuring out hay rails or something that can go in there. Because people could literally drive off the freeway into that lot, don't, and then just get right back onto the freeway. So Caltrans did temporarily fix it. and so I know the freeway side of it's been taken care of, but it sounds like Escondido side needs to be taken care of too.
Well, it's more than just that one with a spot there.
Okay,
We're still talking about hundreds of feet of fence that was mowed down
okay.
by a vehicle going off the road, and barbed wire is
On the
sticking out.
freeway side or on Escondido side? Okay.
But it,
Escondido,
it's
it's
on
just
Escondido, but it's where it abuts the Caltrans right away for the freeway.
It's on the Escondido, it's on the freeway side of Escondido. Right.
But it, because Caltrans only owns what they have to their right of way, so I just wanna make sure I understand where
Well,
this
it's
is.
their fence,
Okay. Yeah, then it's on their right of way,
it's
yeah.
their right of way.
They don't normally put a sign up, this is Caltrans fencing, so I just wanna make sure that, yeah.
And the trash is just everywhere, all through it. If you go down to, Valencia, miraculously cleaned up.
That's fair, I mean, it's right, it is cleaner in other places than where we are.
And I've had people say, well, it's Acton all the way down to Palmville.
And you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Nope. I see it all
Because
the time.
Angeles Forest Highway off-ramps are disgusting. And we've gone a couple times and cleaned up around that area or whatever, but yeah, we're not allowed on the freeway, or not on the freeway, but even the on and off ramps, which we do, some of the on and off ramps, at Crown Valley and in Santiago. We have had CHP come and, they know who we are, so they'll come and sit sometimes at the bottom of the off ramps just so we don't get taken out. So, but Angeles Forest off ramp is absolutely awful, and I will say Caltrans is here. The one thing they do, and I really wish they would do it, they go and they mow the freeway off ramps, and all the trash that's in there, it just gets shredded. And so now 500 pieces of trash is now
5 million.
5 million pieces, and they're little tiny pieces. And I would much rather pick up big pieces of trash and then have it come in and mow.
5,000 pieces.
Yeah, cause it's horrendous when those little pieces get mowed down.
Okay, so, then on committee reports, we should probably talk about making a motion to contact Caltrans about this.
Would it help at all if the county, also made a request with Caltrans?
Sure.
I think they'll listen to county more than us.
Well, I mean, if it's another voice,
Yeah, no, that's a really bigger
dog
deal.
making the request.
And if
Maybe
you
I
make
guess
a
we could
request
ask
to
her how it
Caltrans,
works.
as a suggestion, the area where the fence is down, the barbed wire sticking out, is a hazard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The hazard word gets them right here. I'm sorry, it's pocketbook. Okay.
Okay, so under the beautification and,
Yeah.
illegal dumping.
The only other thing I'd like to add, and I think I already sent you guys an email about it, is the lights on the bank.
Oh.
The lights on the, security lights on the bank are horrendous. Yeah, I thought they were filming a movie,
Yeah.
like we were coming down, Soledad, like coming from Operosa direction, but coming down into town. And it was night, or whatever, I was like, oh, they must be filming a movie at 49er. And the closer we got, you would see, it's just the
Yeah, they're not-
security lights, and they're not tipped down. I mean, they were like, right, when you're coming down that hill, they're in your face.
So we can bring that up in the planning and coordinating. We have a similar problem in that same area with that, and it's still there, illegal giant building that's been permitted on that industrial zone, right? Remember, they had lights, they were like, what they used in the filming industry, night sun, right? They're just blinding everywhere. It took us a long time, but they finally did.
Yeah,
The county finally got them to remove them, because the whole building wasn't even permitted, it's all illegal. So we will. do
I
that in
did
the
say
planning
something to
coordinating.
one of the tellers at the bank, and I let her know maybe she could talk to the bank manager, because they were busy that day, but I don't know how far that actually went. And I just told her, I said, I hate to be a neighbor, close by, and there's a whole housing tract right there. So,
And, there's, given the rash of burglaries, or the
No.
burglaries that have happened, you can be sympathetic for it.
I
get
can,
it. It's just-
absolutely.
But you don't need to blind oncoming traffic with it.
No,
so-
it's-
so.
They just need to be
Almost a
adjusted.
mile.
Yeah, I think you suggested,
I went
yeah.
and looked at them, just last month we got a complaint about those lights also.
yeah, because when you come down, Soledad, you're coming down that hill, that's before you get to the nursery and stuff. As you're coming down that hill, like, they're hitting you right in the face, so they're high.
Going once, Moving on. Announcements, please.
We just have a few announcements, I didn't finish some of the things I need to look at. We were told by Public Works that the county will soon be recording a notice of violation on the Happy Trails facility for unpermitted modifications, which is good news. On December 18th, we submitted a formal request to meet with Supervisor Barber and her staff to discuss this project, but to date, we have not heard anything in response, which is a disappointment, for all the reasons that we mentioned when we discussed this the last couple of meetings.
Let's see our buddy here, Jan.
He's here. Chuck's here.
Did you copy me on that? Cause I don't remember seeing
I
that.
thought I did, it was on December 18th, I'll forward it to you as soon as I finish the notices. We
Okay.
just,
Okay.
so, there's been a lot of construction that's been done there, none of it had permits.
Yeah, I think they've got a stop work order.
Well, yes, but, and now they're doing an NOV, so, a problem is this, I went to Public Works, Building and Safety, I love those guys, you know, Hugo's a great guy. He wasn't there, I spoke with a person, and I said, I'm here, I want to look at the permit applications they've submitted, because under the Records Act, you can go during a business, during a government's office hour, you can go request permits that are on file. We refused to show them to them. They said they just had a long conversation with them the day before, and all their permits are messed up, and they told them that they still have to apply new permits. And I said, but I wanna see what they have applied, because I wanna see, and we discussed it the last couple of meetings, who's doing the work there? Is it Happy Trails or is it Pally? Because that's, what's really troubling about that whole development is education camps are not allowed on the zoning underlying that property. And Pally is an education camp business. So if they're doing the construction, I get that Happy Trails was deeded the property, but they're only using it a couple of months a year. And if it goes to this private corporation that charges a lot of money to very wealthy kids to come up for summer camp, it's all wrong. It's all wrong. And so I still want to look at the records. I want, for the permits, we should be able to see them. We should be able to look at them over the counter. Or they can, if it's done electronically, they can swing the screen around and let us see who the applicants are. Nothing. It's just,
Was it Hugo that said it, or the
no,
engineer?
Hugo wasn't there. Hugo would have been fine.
Yeah,
It's
he
just
was
one of
Tuesday.
the
Yeah, I think
issues.
Hugo, because he has told me that you can't get copies of the permits, of building permits, but you can inspect them. Now, I don't
Yes.
know at what point that is that the application for the permit, is that the final permit?
No, you are allowed to inspect everything.
Okay.
And not just the permit that's issued, but also the application. It's all a matter of public record, so, and I
Yeah,
didn't
so,
want
and you got
copies.
Hugo's contact information?
Yeah, I do, and Hugo's great, he wasn't there, and I wasn't asking for copies, I just wanted to, I had my camera, I was gonna take a picture of it if it's on the screen, or, that's how I do it, I scan these things in, right, I have my whole thing set up to do that, so, anyway, it was very troubling, and this Supervisor Barter's assistant, what is his name? I cannot remember. No, the person that's voting, no.
It was Andrews Corey.
For Anish.
Oh,
Corey.
Andrews Corey. He's no longer with us, and so,
Well, he told us in a conference call that he told Happy Trails to not talk to the Acton Town Council until everything was done. That's not how it works, and I followed up with an email saying, what, why did, you do that, and he never got back to us, so it's like, there's a lot of issues there. One of the issues that needs to be addressed is under the general plan amendment, the safety element that was revised last year, county's not supposed to approve, what are called public assembly uses, general assembly uses, in very high fire hazard areas unless they've done a traffic study showing that it's served by enough road facilities to serve everybody. So that Soledad Canyon Road, where that facility is, has to be adequate to evacuate everybody from Crown Valley Road to Agua Dulce Canyon Road in a fire. And it's not, it's a two-lane highway that has no shoulders and steep embankments. So there's some things that we have asked for now, almost a year, saying you need to show us this study, and you can't be approving a facility for 600 kids and of all the adults that are there and all the vehicles, and make sure that our residents can still evacuate with the 10,000 people, with 11,000 people that are allowed at Thousand Trails. So there's a lot of issues with this, so I just.
Anyway, I'll look for the request if you send it to me.
I'll just resend it to you,
Okay.
that's fine. And I thought I copied you on it. I think I might have copied Corey Andrews.
Yeah, he's not, all this.
Okay, I didn't realize that. All right, so the Superior Court of Los Angeles County just launched a pop-up community resources center to help LA County residents get connected with court services right in their community and get an accessible civics lesson in the process. It's called the Court Common Pop-Up. It will soon be traveling to schools and communities in the 5th District. If you want more information, please contact Supervisor Barber's office or the town council will forward you what we know. We have heard back from Public Works about the Santa Clara River Watershed Plan. The following dates are offered for possible meeting: January 12th from 10:30 to 1, January 13th, 1 to 3, and January 26th from 10 to 2. So maybe during the committee reports, we can nail down people's schedules. Only one application for a membership on the Acton Town Council was received, so there will not be an election, but a new member can be appointed, and they can serve until the next election cycle. So if you are interested, please contact the Acton Town Council. In response to the inquiry that we sent to Regional Planning, HCD, Public Health, and Supervisor Barber's office regarding Cactus Creek, we received a response from the Health Department indicating that they are not involved, that the HCD has filed a civil abatement case with the district attorney. We have followed up with an email to Mr. Hoopman from the HCD asking what the status of that is. And Chuck, if you could help us figure out, we would love to see what the complaint is, or what was filed with the district attorney by the Housing and Community Development Department, the state. The response we got back from the health department was that, well, it's not our responsibility. We responded saying, yeah, it is. Here are the code sections that say it's your responsibility. We're looking for a response on it, but anyway.
So, say that again? Oh, this is regarding Cactus Creek?
Yes.
So I'll just say this, so, to best of my understanding, what is going on right now is county council is preparing documents to file in court this month. They said they hope to have it in this month. And then they hope to have a receiver appointed in February who would take over the property and, clean it up, clear everybody out, and sell the thing.
So the concern is, under state law, the permit should have been revoked.
I think it has been, but anyway, yeah.
I agree.
But there's no ownership of the place right now at this moment, as near as I can tell.
Yeah, I know
and
they
it's
have
just
to take the
sitting
property
there.
tax
Yes,
free. I
yes.
just want to make sure, I guess, this is, every time we've talked about this, the important thing is that whoever owns it doesn't think that they can go, or the county doesn't think that they can just open another 10-unit mobile home park on something that's smaller than a quarter of acre in downtown Acton. Because under the general plan, it has been since the 1980 general plan, the density in a mobile home park has to be the same as the residential density allowed under the general plan that underlies it. So you can't put 10 homes on a quarter acre anywhere in Acton. And it's just really important that.
Well, and I will confirm that with county council, that what's the plan for how it's to be sold. My assumption was it was to be sold as a single-family home lot.
That would be great.
Yeah,
I think a lot of my concerns, and I'm sure everybody else.
Because there is no, they don't have a permit from us, it was revoked years ago by the state. They'd have to apply for all that stuff. There's no sewage. I don't know how we could, but I will confirm that. But anyway, I saw public health's response, and I didn't want to email and get in a
No,
whole
you didn't.
email fight.
Yeah,
But
it's not your job.
Yeah, so, but from talking to county council, so they were waiting for the state to say, we're done, we've exhausted our enforcement options, so that happened in September. That happened in September, so county, regional planning prepared a report on all the problems there. That went to county council, I don't know, first week in December or something like that. And, county council's now got it, they said there's a lot of paperwork for them to prepare to show the judge, and their plan is to get a court filing in January, and ask them, well, how long does that take to get a receiver appointed? And they said that we hope that happens in February.
Okay, we've asked regional planning over and over for over a year now for information. And I didn't know they prepared a report. Can we get a copy of it?
I don't know, because now it's with the county council, so that's who it went to. But again, they were waiting on, regional planning was not in charge a year ago, it was still state housing and community development. And then finally in about, I think it was September where they declared, we're done, the county can do whatever they want to do for enforcement. And so the plan now is to sell the property, clear it off and sell it.
Okay, is it possible to at least get the paperwork that's filed with the courts? That should be public record.
It's not filed yet, they're gonna be doing
But
that.
when it is?
Once it goes to the court, yeah, you can get it
Okay.
through the court, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
you can't find anything unless you know a case number.
Okay, well, but I know it's not filed, so.
Okay, all right, thanks. Okay, and that's it for me.
Well, library report. All right.
Not a huge report for me tonight, but a few things. First, just so you all know, January 19th, it's a Monday, the library is closed for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Regular hours all around that. And then just as usual, all our programs are online on our website, lakecountylibrary.org. A couple of them, just real quick highlight. I've got one happening Wednesday, January 14th. It's gonna be at 7 o'clock at night here in this room. It's called Explore Jupiter. We're gonna pull the telescope out, take a look at Jupiter and have some stuff going on and hear about it. So you can learn about it and then go out to see it in person. All tentative on the weather. If it's cloudy, rainy, you're not gonna see anything outside. So keep that in mind. And then the other one I'm gonna point out is we've got a kids program on Tuesday, January 27th at 10:30 in the morning. It's called Toddler and Me Yoga. The kids can come in and we've got someone coming in to teach them kids yoga. And they should all have a good time with that. That's 10:30 to 11 in the morning. Other than that, unless you got questions for me, that's it.
What was the date again for Jupiter?
14th sounds about right. Yes, the 14th.
Thank you. All right, representative update. Let's see. Shannon, okay. Shannon, go ahead, let's see if you can hear you. Motion is frozen.
Am I unfrozen?
You're unfrozen.
Okay. I'm glad you guys figured out. Hi, everyone. I'm gonna get started.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Well, hope you all were able to enjoy the holidays. Happy New Year. Hope you were able to stay dry. Definitely looking forward to the sun. I don't know about you all. But I wanted to give you a quick look back at the Congressman's first year. So the Congressman's office returned $15.4 million back to constituents. The team solved over 200 constituent cases. We responded to more than 24,000 emails, calls, and letters. We attended over 1,000 community events, including ones like this one, and presented over 20,000 congressional certificates recognizing the work and achievements of students and community leaders. And the Congressman supported 189 bills that aim to lower costs, protect healthcare, and strengthen communities. So one thing that's on the horizon is community project funding. That are appropriation requests for the next fiscal year. It'll be open in the spring. They may include things for like funding for projects such as community centers, senior centers, recreation centers or parks, water infrastructure, transportation infrastructure, police services or equipment, and other local government projects. Eligible entities can include state, local, tribal governments, publicly owned entities, and some nonprofits. So the applications are not yet open, but we do encourage you to sign up for the Congressman's newsletter. That's where all the information will release.
Shannon, break it up.
I'm breaking up.
Yeah, you've gone full robot.
Oh. I'm so sorry, guys. Anita, taking my camera off.
Oh, yeah.
Is that better?
That's better.
Yes.
That's better? Okay, well, I'm gonna play the camera on that one. Where did I?
Learn about parks and the funding and listen to his newsletter, and that was it.
Yeah.
Read his.
Okay, great. Love it, yes. So sign up for the newsletter, that's where you're gonna get a lot of information, and that's where you'll get a lot of the deadlines and that sort of thing, like the timeline. A couple other top lines, the app challenge is done. If you didn't see it, we got a lot of applications from all over the district. The winner was an app called MathBiz. It was a team led by local Academy of the Canyon student, Gotham Korapati. It was an AI-driven platform that makes learning math more engaging and has dynamic animations. Entries for the app challenge were evaluated by a panel of judges from higher education, K through 12, aerospace defense. We had a professor from the Antelope Valley College, a chief technologist at NASA, a chief of test techniques at Edwards Air Force Base, and a vice president of Scunford's integration at Lockheed Martin. So we were really happy that they got to take a look at all of our incredible applications, but that is closed. It will be open again next year, but in a similar vein is the art competition. We held it last year, we're gonna hold it open again. It's not open yet, but it will be open soon for high school students, and I'll send a flyer out within the next couple weeks. But it'll end about mid-spring for judges. I'll have more details, and Jackie, as soon as I've got a flyer, it'll land in your inbox. But if there's anything else you have for me, I'm gonna drop my email in the chat. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll stick around for a little bit.
Thanks, Shannon.
Of course.
All right. Any other reps online? Let's see. All right. Chuck, anything from you?
No, other than I wanted to report that I think finally progress is being made on Cactus Creek. I think that's the only way it's gonna be cleaned up is if it's given to a receiver. I'm always a glass half empty kind of guy, so I'll just say one of my concerns is that probably it's gonna cost way more to clean it up than it would be worth to sell if it's sold as a single family lot. I'm not really sure how much single family home lots are going for. That's a good section of Acton that's got water and power and everything, but there was one estimate it could cost $400,000 to clean all these things out, so.
Because of the toxic.
No, just because there's so much debris, you have to pay probably have to pay those people to get out of there.
Oh, I think the cesspool part's the small part, it's the whole.
Yeah,
the whole
yeah,
mess
just,
is-
and so,
it's a mess.
and I don't know, that could be county dollars, which are smaller than real dollars, so. But anyway, it seems to be moving forward, it's with county council. County council seems to realize that this is an important issue. I'm trying to stay on top of it, make sure that the stuff really gets turned in, to the court in January. So I think the big holdup over all those years was it's state housing community development. Oh, no, the county's gotta deal with it. Oh, it's the state, and something happened, and I'll just credit Supervisor, Senator Valadares' staff of getting HCD to finally declare, okay, we're done. County, go ahead and do whatever you need to do.
No, Chuck, the concern would be the pollution that's there because of that, and is the county going, it's really difficult to get permits now. So what's gonna happen when it's time to clean up that septic or that?
Yeah, and I don't know how much contamination comes out of septic tanks as opposed to gasoline tanks and.
Well, it's not a septic tank, if we're a septic tank, it'll be okay, it's a septic.
As I said, I don't know how
And
much.
that's just nothing,
Yeah,
that is just direct injection into the groundwater.
And
And
it's
it's
like,
within the well protection zone for Waterworks District Well number 1.
and it's gonna be very difficult for any contractor or any home builder to try to work with that piece of property, in my humble opinion. Just,
But, and I don't know what we're asking
it's lovely that it's got
receiver.
water.
What?
And it's lovely that it's got water and it's a nice sized lot, but 30 years of experience of trying to get permits through the county on anything difficult.
Yeah, it's certainly
I'm just
difficult,
saying,
yeah.
help us so that we can actually sell this piece of property.
And like I said, I don't know if they're asking them to remove all the soil there or what they're gonna do. But that's probably part of the $400,000
If they don't
cost.
clean it up, it's not gonna be easy for any potential buyer.
So that's the thing, there's this EPA enforcement action already on it, and the property owner's already been ordered to come up with a cleanup plan. So
And
that
he's bailed on
order.
the property, so he doesn't exist anymore.
No, I know, but that order, I don't think the EPA will start all over again with a new property owner, I think it.
It
ran
stays
with-
there.
It'll carry over.
Well, I don't.
And presumably the receiver will deal with it, that's probably part of that
So
$400,000 cost.
Yeah,
Well, that
yeah,
was-
and I'm not sure cleaning the cesspool is gonna be as the biggest cost of it, but it's
major.
something.
It's
But
major.
it's, what I'm concerned about is if it goes into receivership and then it never gets cleaned up, somebody's gonna put a mobile home in that, or 10 mobile homes, and we're right back to where I mean, if the lot isn't used or secured in a way that prevents use, it's just gonna be right back where we are now.
Well-
Valid point.
But, yeah, I know, at one point, county council thought we should have to fence it and have 24-hour security there watching it, for, years on end, at hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'll say, no, I don't think so.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
No.
I mean, honestly, if somebody just stops using the cesspools, eventually it will,
Go
just
away.
like a gas chromatograph, it flows through eventually.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Jackie,
10 years later.
Yeah, go ahead, Orlando.
yeah, if the county were to clean it up and just fence it off, like, it's private property owned by the county, any squatters, it's not like if anyone broke in and tried to do this, they would be arrested for trespassing. They don't have to go through the eviction process or anything like that, so as long as it was cleaned up and fenced, and then anyone and everything's posted, you try to come back on the property, they're arrestable. It's not, you don't have to go through the courts or anything at that point.
I appreciate that, and I agree with that, Orlando, and I appreciate the perspective. However, if the property owner gives the person permission, they can put 4 more mobile homes on it. And it's not trespass, because they've got property owner permission. And there are many properties in Acton that are being used as mobile home parks. I can point to 5 different properties that have 5 different, not mobile home parks,
RV
RV
parks,
parks.
yes.
But the same thing, and actually, they're a mix, there are
Yeah.
mobile homes and
I was gonna
RVs.
say.
So it's, I'm grateful for what you just said, and I agree with it, but if the property owner gives them permission, boom, there we are again.
And I don't have an answer for that, but let's deal with Cactus Creek right now.
Okay,
But if the county is the property owner, they would not be giving anybody.
But she's saying if we sell it to somebody and he's a knucklehead and he lets
Right.
his buddies live there in RVs, and we tell them you can't live here in RVs, and they say, oh, well, we're going to, and then we chase them around for 2 years as we do in other
and
provinces.
there's just no enforcement, I mean, it's just,
Okay, well, I will say, like, almost every other night for sure, there's new dumpings on that property.
oh.
He brings in new stuff constantly, and it's a tow truck driver, it's Haas.
Yeah,
I just want clarification, are we talking about the mobile home park across from the Acton Market?
Community center,
The
yeah.
community center, that area there?
Yep.
Okay, is that commercially zoned?
No,
No,
it's not zoned for any of the use that is on it.
okay.
It's all 100% illegal, and has been for decades.
What is the zoning, Jackie?
What's the zoning?
I think it's A1.
I believe it's H something,
Yeah,
it's
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 A1.
residential, single-family residence.
I don't think it's already, I think it's A1 right there, but yeah,
Oh, I
that's,
think it's,
but
well, I'll look it up. Could it be
but anyway,
residential?
that's why we're gonna get a court order to take possession of the property
Yeah.
and turn it over to receiver to.
Well, thank you very much for that.
And let's just hope we can keep it moving here and something gets done. I think we're now into the realm of maybe it'll be cleared within months. I was told by a neighbor, they heard the homeless outreach workers who go over there and try to convince people to move, that she's heard them saying, oh, you gotta be out in January. So I think that's more of like just a date they pulled out of the air to try to convince people that we're serious and I can't live here. But anyway, I'm hoping that
Well, there
stuff will be
was
done.
somebody that came and approached all of the people in there, because I got a report from Haas and the other guy, that they were told that it was sold, which that was in November, I think, that I heard that.
Well,
I
so,
was told that.
well, and again, one of the reasons I didn't put this in email is this is all so shaky, the information, so.
Right, right. it's-
Regional Planning and County Council was told that the property owner, Eric Hawk, who owned it under an LLC, signed a quitclaim deed to a lender on the property.
Yes.
So the lender, and I check all the time, has never filed that deed with the recorder's office. So it's still under the LLC's name, so that's where the whole question mark, and I was
And there's
also.
no knowledge, there's no evidence of a deed. This Mr. Howe could just be saying that, and he probably is.
We don't know, yeah.
Well,
They can't do property.
That's the whole part, and the county council told me that there's a lot of paperwork to provide to the judge, so I suppose that's part of all the paperwork.
it's zoned RA.
Is it all right?
Yes. Thank you, thanks to the county for doing that, but, you know,
Well,
for a year.
let's just hope within a few months it's gone.
It just would be nice if somebody would respond to our request, like, what's going on, you know? I'm grateful for this report, believe me, I am, because it makes me feel much better, but, you know, for a year, we've been reaching out and we don't
Well,
hear anything back.
nothing was going on other than churning, trying to say until September.
Churning is still news. Let me get sure.
Well, we've been churning, I've been churning on it since 2018 when I came to work for the supervisor's office. Because back then it was when that whole nest of thieves were living there.
I've been dealing with since 2007, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And every year we get
Yeah.
another story.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Deputy Martinez.
I'm gonna start off with a little bit of Cactus Creek again. So since November, I was looking at my notes, we've been there 4 times with LASA, which is the homeless outreach. None of them want services, you know, obviously. Daniel Granger, who's zoning, takes pictures every time, and I know it's hard to believe, but the trash inside the park has gotten better. Like there's they've gotten rid of some of the vehicles in the interior and a lot of the debris and stuff. I keep on trying to get them to get the county to give them a roll-off, and that way they can do some of the cleanup for the county, you know, and fill at least one up, and then that's a lot more less, you know, trash bags and everything else they have. They have a lot of like little debris too, not just big stuff. And there's less residents in it than there has been each time, so it is getting better. I mean, I think the holdouts that are there, like the 2 ladies in the back, the mobile home, actual home kind of thing, all are under the impression that they're gonna get like a cash for keys kind of thing or something at some point. So we'll see what ends up happening with county council and the court system. But that's what's going on with Cactus Creek, at least that's what I've been involved with. Our staff leads are still on vacation. I'm technically still on vacation. So I don't have any stats for you guys for the end of the year, but I do have, some of you guys I'm sure heard, because I got hit up a few phone calls about, open carry in California, was ruled unconstitutional, the ban on it was ruled unconstitutional. As far as the law enforcement side goes, it's like most things in California, you know, things get struck down, but there's still laws on the books. 26150C2 of the penal code still requires a permit if a city or county has over 200,000 residents for the open carry. So yes, it's technically legal. So if anyone's trying to do like a First Amendment audit or, you know, Second Amendment audit in this case, and open carry, however, we live in an area that has more than 200,000 residents. You guys fall under LA County as unincorporated, so technically you would need to get some sort of licensing and permit from your local law enforcement jurisdiction. They haven't applied for an injunction yet, but typical of California, whenever they win on the 2A side, you know, the state files injunctions rather quickly. But that's pretty much all I got for right now, unless you guys got something for me.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Orlando.
Anybody have any questions for Deputy Martinez? All right, thank you. All right, next up, parking enforcement with, Mr. Dykstra.
Hello everyone, I'm Steve Dykstra with Public Works. My role is to basically handle everything related to parking enforcement all around the county now. And I'm also working directly with parking enforcement detail with the Sheriff's Department. They handle the enforcement, so we, Public Works, will handle the, where we put the signs, what types of signs we do. So I'm here to just kind of discuss about some of the processes that are in place for different types of park restrictions. The reason that I came here was to discuss mostly about Sierra Highway, right here, west of Crown Valley. There's been a lot of concerns about the taco truck parking over there and big rigs parking, blocking driveways, double parking. So concerns related to that. What we've done recently is we have on the north side of Sierra Highway, west of Crown Valley, we've put 50 feet of red curb next to every driveway entrance. There's a number of commercial driveways there, so we make sure there's at least 50 feet of red curb, so that in theory gives people visibility, trying to pull out of the driveways. There is still areas where the taco truck and people going to the taco truck or truck drivers can park. So what we're doing next is we're proposing to put time limit and overnight park restrictions in those areas that are not red curbs on the north side. So that process involves, once we get a suggestion, we can't just go ahead and put it in. We do outreach with the businesses. So all the businesses within that commercial center there were sent a letter. I believe it was around December 20th, more or less. The letter basically states, we're proposing to put in, I believe it was no overnight parking from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and 1 hour parking from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. So we give them all 30 days. We say, unless we do see substantial opposition to this proposals, we're going to move forward. We don't really expect that we're going to have too much opposition from those businesses because there is a parking lot there for the residents, and the taco truck could potentially be stealing customers from the business there, so it could be helpful. So that's the process that we're going to wait for the 30 days to pass, and assuming we do not get opposition, we would then move forward. Typically, it has to go to a board letter, which is a 6-month process to get formally approved by the board for those regulations. However, we can do a director's authorization memo, and that would speed it up to about 2 months, roughly 2 months for installation. So likely around a couple more months from the January deadline, late January deadline, we could potentially be getting some park restrictions on the north side. And now we've been having discussions like maybe they're going to move to the south side. We can kind of get ahead of that. So we can propose similar ideas. We can propose red curb next to some of the driveways. I've been speaking with Ruth a lot lately, and we wanted to kind of just let people give some feedback first before we kind of move forward to the south side with any additional red curbs or additional park restrictions. The other thing that I was going to bring up is that it's been proposed in most of the South LA County now. It's called the non-conforming vehicle ordinance, and it basically restricts large vehicles for parking on public streets in entire districts. That's in place in about 7 or 8 communities in southern Los Angeles County, and currently we're in the works of expanding it to about 13 or 14 other communities. That is something that potentially could be a long-term solution to issues like this. We haven't really proposed it in the North County yet, but if we wanted to do that in the future, it'd require a lot of public support. So I've discussed with Ruth, if people are in favor of that. For now, the best thing to do is we just get people's names and emails and things like that. We get them on a list, and potentially when we're ready, when we're finishing up with the effort now to expand, we could do another effort probably next year, probably later this year. I mean, we're supposed to be finished with the last one, but we're still kind of working on that at the moment. And that's about it.
Is this ladder thing a program?
Sorry. Yes, it's called the non-conforming vehicle ordinance.
I'm sorry. Is it possible for us to get I have to leave. Is it possible for us to get information on that ordinance and send it to the town council?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
When that ordinance is extended, like there was to extend here,
Right.
can we modify the ordinance, or does it have to go forward just as it is right now? Right now, it's only in operation from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. is when the ordinance kicks in and eliminates parking on the streets.
Which ordinance is that?
The non-conforming.
No, it's typically, I believe in all the districts where it exists, it's 24/7. The only one where there's a time limit, I believe overnight only, that applies to Marina Del Rey. Well, everywhere else it applies
I pulled one
day and
up,
night.
1 AM to 6 AM.
So you probably were looking at the Marina Del Rey one most likely.
Okay.
So it's from 10 PM till when?
No,
No, it's 24/7.
if we were to put in the non, I mean, it could be customized, like we could potentially do that, because the process of, it's not like we just put parking restrictions in one street, so we can do a simple outreach process. Like, if we're gonna propose this in all of Acton, it's a major thing, so we have to do a big outreach effort, and we'd also be doing other communities as well, so we'd be presenting, up in here, up in other communities. This year, we probably went to 10 or 15 meetings and discussed about it, gathered feedback. I mean, for the most part, it was overwhelmingly positive feedback everywhere we've been. Everyone's just kinda like, well, why didn't you do this sooner?
Does that
So-
spread into residential areas as well?
Yeah, it would apply. So pretty much you'd be restricted to, if you have a large, commercial vehicle, or you wouldn't be able to park it in the street anymore, more or less. You'd have to park it on your private property. Yes.
And that covers RVs, right?
Yes, it covers everything, and that's one of the issues that's really the driving force of the major expansion in the south, is the RVs, which are, I mean, I'm sure you see some of it here, they're maybe going in private lots here, but down there, they're just taking over industrial areas, going into residential areas, commercial areas, and, you'll have areas where you can go down, I mean, Rancho Dominguez is probably one of the worst examples. You can drive down Santa Fe Avenue or Susanna Road, and it's just like hundreds of RVs both sides of the streets, and it's, so.
If somebody wanted to, like, they're passing through, they're going on a trip in their motor home, and they wanted to pull over and go to one of the restaurants and have lunch, would they be allowed to park for a restricted amount of time?
So there is a permit program that goes along with that. It's very restrictive in order to not let it be abused easily. The way it works is you basically have a 24-hour permit. You have to live in the district, and you have to own the RV or be leasing the RV, so that's like in your name, and you also have to live there. And then if that happens, then you can request a 24-hour permit to park in front of your home on the street. That's the purpose of that, is like you get it out of storage, you're loading up for your trip. You could even do up to 2 days in a row consecutive like if you had a really big trip, and it's a maximum of 30 per year. So it doesn't really cover that situation where you wanna pull over on the side of the road and, go in and run and get some food at a restaurant. You probably wanna be parking in the parking lot. I mean, of course, you could take your chances. If you're gonna be there a short time, you might not get caught by parking enforcement. But-
It sounds a little bit restrictive.
Yeah, so I mean,
we have people that take 14 on a trip, and they're gonna be pulling off to frequent businesses here. We don't wanna discourage them from doing that. There needs to be
Maybe,
a
yeah,
way
I
to
mean-
make short-term parks.
we can work with you on different types of permits. We haven't really gotten to that yet, but there is potential to add other types of permits into it somehow. I'm not exactly sure how that would work, but we could, through the outreach process, we could discuss things like that. Maybe some ideas would be like, create some parking lots for people with RVs and near the commercial centers, if they can't fit in the regular parking lot because of how big they are, or something like that.
Yeah.
I have two questions.
Sure.
One, how will it be enforced? Because two, as an over-road trucker who has a trucking company, I have a half acre and I have space on my property to park a 53-foot trailer and a tractor. Now, if I unhook that tractor and I go up the street here to get gas, I get a $25 ticket because my tractor is now absent and not hooked to my trailer.
Unhitched, right?
Yeah. And this happens within 30 minutes. But
Parked in your
yeah,
private property or parked in the street?
I'm parked on my property, right next to my fence, and the
Okay.
street's right here. I'm
It must
in
be-
my property.
Who's ticketing you for that?
The little white public parking.
It's parking enforcement?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Would we normally go
Well,
up?
our fees are $25.
No, it was an RV, this was a tractor trailer.
We're
with a
not- but
53-foot trailer.
The only thing on private property, other than recovering a stolen vehicle that we may happen by, would be, yard parking ordinance.
Mhm.
Is your citation saying yard parking?
I'd have to go back and look, but literally like my property, I have the fence going around and then there's the 10 feet to the street.
The easement,
Yeah, the easement, so I'm parked in the easement and it still has 2 feet from the road, of course.
Well, it could be Parkway, not $25. Typically,
Maybe
they start
$25
off, I think 55 would be the lowest we go, so could it be zoning?
Might be,
then?
yeah, it might be Department of Regional Planning, Code Enforcement or something. So,
I don't know, but I'm just curious how, because I'm not in the street.
I don't think that it wouldn't apply technically. If you're on private property, it wouldn't apply. This is only applying to public street parking.
Okay.
Private street parking wouldn't apply, private property wouldn't apply. So the ordinance would only apply to the public streets.
Okay, so then going forward across from like the gas station, if somebody was to park over there, and I've done the cleanup with Tammy, and I can tell you how many, paraphernalia for drugs you'll find on a cleanup in the area of the gas stations. And, what's the one area by the Arco all the way down? Yeah.
Yeah.
So how will it be enforced to not allow them to park there? Because are we gonna start having patrols? Because you can call for, you know, a car to come down and they never show up if there's an instance of, you know, something happening on our street. I've literally had to encounter people casing my neighbor's home who is disabled. And we've had to confront them and make them leave. And we
So-
call for backup and nothing ever happens. So we're personally patrolling our streets.
So we have, that's why I have park enforcement with me today, and I'm gonna let him discuss about all things park enforcement related. It would be them handling all the enforcement of this ordinance, as well as everything else related to parking restriction violations or anything like that. So he can discuss about that. Go ahead, yeah.
Me, get a little sooner with that turned over. You had a question?
Yeah, I do have a question there, and it's kind of a concern, because a lot of us have big rigs, or we have horse trailers, or, you know, living quarters, that we park on our own properties or in our easements, like this lady here. And I would hate for this ordinance to bump us in with places like Long Beach, or, you know, something like that, where now we're having to get permits
Right.
to park.
Okay, let me speak to that, which this ordinance covers not necessarily it being a commercial vehicle or a size of the vehicle, like a tractor trailer. It's literally the size of the vehicle, and the dimensions that we deal with would be anything that's longer than 20 feet or longer, 8 feet wide or wider, or 7.5 feet taller, including side gates, equipment, and so forth. Everything but, say, a CB antenna wouldn't be factored in. Even a truck with a trailer attached would be added together as one unit length. So something to keep in mind, that may or may not be a practical solution for Acton. Let me take your question.
Yeah, but both, I mean.
But it applies to all.
Yeah, because of the zoning.
So that's everything we drive.
Because of the zoning as well.
Could we have a carve out where it only applies to commercial areas?
Well, we can post commercial vehicle park restrictions, however, typically we can definitely post those in the residential zones or agricultural zones. It's difficult to get commercial vehicle park restrictions put into commercial zones, because that's kind of where they would go and where they are designed to go. I think we discussed about that as well, and also RVs are not considered commercial by definition.
But I don't wanna see residents penalized, because what we're trying to do is eliminate improper parking of commercial vehicles that are mostly in our commercial areas.
Generally, if it's gonna be within a commercial area, it probably have to be some other type of ordinance. I don't know exactly what, but it wouldn't be this ordinance, so we might have to develop something new, or maybe there's something else we could kind of use that I'm not really familiar with.
If you're trying to address the commercial vehicle issue, probably the better way is to go for the commercial weight restriction. Because then you're dealing with a weight limit, typically 5 tons, 10,000 pounds, being a commercial vehicle as opposed to someone's F-250 or motorhome.
And I just wanna say that, like, the semis are not the issue here.
Right.
We're all skirting around the issue,
Okay.
trying not to say that the elephant in the room is that the issue is the food trucks, right? And because they are monopolizing the curb and staying out there for 18 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So that may be
And that's the
time
issue.
limit parking where to try to encourage them to turn over more
Well, we
often.
don't have any regulation in unincorporated areas on these food trucks. And we don't wanna penalize the trucker that's gonna pull in and pull out. He's gonna pull in, run into Jack in the Box and leave, or he's, parking to go, run into the pizza place to get a pizza. We're not looking to make things difficult for them, and I certainly don't want this to penalize the people in the community.
so regional planning is going to tune up the general plan. At first stage, when they announced this, they said they were going to do it because they needed to bring the general plan into conformance with the zoning code. So the town council wrote them an email saying, that's illegal. The zoning code is supposed to be in conformance with the general plan. You can't. Not the other way around, yes. So then they have, okay, so they had a meeting, a couple of weeks ago, public meeting, and people provided comments. I participated as, on behalf of the Acton Town Council. I did get a chance to review the draft before the meeting, and these are the 3 issues that I brought up. They were limiting our time, and so, but when there was, nobody else was talking, I did let you make another comment, so I was able to comment several times. So this is the change that they're proposing, and it's not good. First, they plan to remove the noise study requirement that the health department was supposed to start more than 8 years ago, that we've been counting on to support the quiet zone, the quiet zone provisions for the trade, as well as a number of other things. So we've been waiting, and since 2015, when the general plan was adopted, for that, it's supposed to be community-wide noise study that the health department is supposed to do, especially in areas that are particularly affected by transportation noise, which is us. We have the freeway and, more importantly, the train, which at 4 in the morning, those 4 people down at the Lilac Ranch, Kill Point Lilac Ranch, they hit 4 in the morning, it's 103 decibels when that train goes through. And that's data from high-speed rail, I think it came from, either high-speed rail or the ADTA thing. And they're doubling the number of trains that are going through that corridor. So it's really important. So that's a problem, no noise standard. Another terrible problem is the general plan now requires the health department, the Parks and Rec to prepare a recreational plan. They were supposed to have started that 5 years ago. So another thing that's going to be removed is the requirement to develop the recreational plan. And they explain that they don't need the recreational plan anymore because of the Parks Needs Assessment that was done in 2016 and the PNA Plus that was done that said the North Antelope Valley has access to thousands of miles of trails in the Angeles Forest, but the entry point for all those trails are south of San Gabriel. They have no access to it. Just terrible. So I pointed out, I said, look, the PNA, the Park Needs Assessment, and the PNA Plus are not recreation plans. Those are just assessments that you did where you decided who needs parks and who doesn't need parks. But it's not allocating any money, and in fact, more than half the money that's been allocated under Measure A has gone to places with 0 parking. So it's completely worthless. And then I also had found, since I made those comments, I have looked at the county already had a recreational plan. It was developed in 1970 or thereabouts, and it had and I highlighted it all. I have notes on all of it. Huge amenities were to be in the Antelope Valley. Parks, pools, golf courses. I mean, I can't even tell you, they didn't build one thing, all right? This was their park plan forever. So now, we've been waiting for this park plan, right? It's like, okay, finally so you see where you need it, now let's develop a plan to get it. No, we don't need it anymore, because now we know where it's needed, but we don't want to put it in place. And our track record shows we refuse to. I cannot tell you how horrible this is. Okay, the third thing is, that's not as important, but still very important to this community, particularly in the area of Antelope Woods and Crown Valley. They're eliminating the level of service component of all traffic studies because regional planning said LOS, the level of service, is now irrelevant under CEQA, but that's not correct. And actually, I was able to comment on that, and I said, absolutely false. An LOS study is still required for all projects that require traffic studies because the general plan establishes certain LOS goals. And if the project doesn't meet those LOS goals, it is inconsistent with the general plan and it cannot be approved. So if you don't do LOS analyses for traffic studies, you never have the data you need to assess whether or not the project is consistent with the general plan. And they actually said, oh, well, that's a good point. I'm like, do you guys even think about when you just say this stuff? I'm very, very upset with this general plan tune-up. These three parts of it, the rest of it, it seems pretty harmless. But I think it's really important that comments are due, I think, on the January 22nd. To be fair, I looked at the version that was out just before their meeting. We got an email today saying a new draft is out, so maybe they've changed things, I don't know. But I didn't have time to read their new draft, it took me 2 days to read their old draft, so, I don't know. So I would like to, and I haven't read this out, but I can type it real quick, I move that we submit a comment letter addressing these three issues.
Are these comment letters that are coming directly from you, or can they come from the residents as well?
Oh, no, the residents can write all they want. It would be great if you guys did. I think it would be huge. The only difficulty is, trying to get the letter done in time so that the community can see it, so they can maybe make their own comments, reading it, like, we don't like this either, or whatever. So I don't know, I can try to get those comments done quicker, and then we can post them on the website, but once I write, because that's my job, I'm the secretary. So I write them, but everybody has to review them, approve them, comment on them, which you guys are really quick about, so I appreciate that. So, but yeah, there's absolutely, and if, what we'll do maybe is we'll post the new draft on our website, I'll send, or you can get it. So we'll put it on the website so you have an easy way to get to it, and then it's kind of long, so just look for keywords like noise study and, well, but this is what my concern, I encourage you to read the whole thing and maybe find your own concerns, but these are the things I found. Recreational plan development, noise study, and LOS. So, anyway, so.
So we have a motion.
I'll
second. All right. Who seconded? Sure.
June seconded?
Yes.
Oh, June did?
Okay.
All right. Any other discussion?
So here's what it says, I move that we submit a comment letter on this tune-up addressing the three issues raised above.
All right. Any other discussion? No.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Sure.
Okay, next up, OES SE wildfire mitigation plan.
Okay, so I started writing the complaint that we voted to send, and then we voted on in September, I'm sorry, it's just taking a long time. To the Public Utilities Commission for all the terrible PSPS events in January. Going through you have to cite sections of the Public Utilities Code, and I had planned to incorporate issues relating to their failure to de-energize the transmission lines, which I still will, except for the section of the Public Utilities Code that we're citing only pertains to distribution of electricity. So I still want to highlight it, but then I thought, well, what avenue could we raise these issues in? Because they're still really important. And I realized, we got an email saying that Edison's wildfire mitigation plan for the years 2026 to 2028 is now going through review and final review and approval process with the Office of Emergency Services. It used to be done by PUC, now it's OES. And I thought, well, you know what, let's look at that. So I emailed from the town council, the OES saying, when is this final draft going to be out, when are your comments going to be out, and when can we see them to make comments? And I couldn't believe it, but just before Christmas, we got a long email back from the OES guy, and he said all of this stuff, I think I think the comment period ends on the 12th of this month. It will be out soon, but then the comment period will be X number of weeks. And then he said, you can call if we want it. So I called him. The guy talked to me for a long time, and I got the impression that he really wanted to go back to town council to comment, because he was like, we understand that Edison has some real problems with the transmission line starting fires, and this is before communication was the day before you sent an email to town council about Edison not maintaining their equipment, of which I have a 50,000 line spreadsheet that identifies all of the maintenance that they've done on every distribution vault in this community, and some of them haven't been since 1950, that were not looked at until 2019, no kidding. So there's a lot of evidence of that. But, I got the impression, and I kind of gave him a thumbnail sketch of the concerns that we have raised in our PSPS post-event reports. And he goes, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but there's a lot of concern about this in the offices. They're not being public about it, but the agency.
What's OES?
Office of Emergency
No,
Services.
but how did they get appointed?
So, okay.
Because
So-
PUC, to me, the problem with PUC is it swings politically.
Well, until 10 years ago, the PUC
No, it was good.
pretty
No,
dang
yes,
good.
yes, but I just
But
mean
now it's
now
all,
we're-
with Brown and Newsom, they're only.
No, so I'm just curious if they're not tainted by that, then I feel better about the odds of
Maybe so.
something happening.
OES, I think they are still all appointed,
Mhm.
probably by Governor Newsom, but they're a separate agency from the Public Utilities Commissioner based in Sacramento. And we, town council, we have commented in OES proceedings, before, when they were trying, the utilities, PG&E and Edison were trying to tell them, look, you can't expect us to give you a map of where all our transmission lines are and our distribution lines are. Some of them are so old that they were before Geo 95. And so then we were like, looked up Geo 95, no, first Geo 95 was passed in 1920. And 95% of all their infrastructure was built after that. So the OES actually thanked the town council at the hearing, thank you so much for pointing this out, because they were being lied to by PG&E, mainly PG&E and SCE, not so much SCE. Yeah, about, we can't do all this, we don't know, we don't have paperwork on it, and they were required to have paperwork on it for almost 100 years. Anyway, so I think it's important to make comments on their WMP.
Right.
Focusing, so what's in the WMP? Two things. What they say they do for PSPS, which of course, we're going to comment on, not saying all the stuff they say they do is a big fat lie, because they don't do it anyway. They cut power.
Do whatever they want.
Yeah, they cut power when there's no wind, they cut power
When
when
it's
it's
raining.
raining, and they call it PSPS, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But also, this is the avenue, I think, to really put some pressure on them for the transmission line de-energization, which is what we need in this community. Because that's, these lines are on bridge lines that do get 80 miles an hour, and in PUC regulations, it's all something called Geo 95. Those things don't have to withstand more than 74 miles an hour. So when that thing hits 80, and it falls, burns out active, they won't even be violating Geo 95. Because, we didn't have to replace it till it couldn't withstand 74.
Well, I just feel better about the PUC, after the experience we've had, where it's been like, don't do that again.
When the chairman of the PUC says, now Kevin.
Yes.
And
No.
addresses the president of the
Yes.
SCE with his first name, get a freaking hearing.
Yes, well, no, I think when we got on, or I was on the one hearing, they were like glad handing before the call, like, hey, how was the game this weekend with
Yeah,
the
get it
kids?
out.
And you're like, this is, guys supposed to be holding
This
them
is
accountable.
too incestuous.
Or you gotta remember, they did offer me firewood.
That's right.
For PS.
Yes. So, I think it's important, I think the comments are due on the 12th, so I have a week. I don't know what you guys think about that, but.
And again, on the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no more.
There's 6 horses.
Yeah, 3 horses, 3 dogs.
On January 12th.
Yes.
Yeah, I wins and they're giving us firewood.
Yeah. Yeah, I see nothing but positive.
And the light bulb that wasn't.
And the light bulb,
yeah, I wasn't charged.
The light bulb.
Hey, the next time this happens, just make sure you have this plugged in, you'll be all right.
FSRI report, I sent it to you, but I had, I didn't even see that you sent it, I'm sorry.
Okay, but it's a 350 something report.
On BESS or on what?
FSRI, on the Palisade and the Eaton fire, completely analyzing the origins, the timelines, everything.
Oh, excellent.
There's a picture that somebody took of the start of the Eaton fire, and when you zoom in, it's right in the power line.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've got the data, because I've downloaded all that data in preparation of these comments, because I'm gonna use the Eaton Fire. The winds in that area, right near there, did exceed the standard. So, it exceeded the standard, so they couldn't, what I'm saying is that the standards are ridiculous, and Edison doesn't comply with them anyway, so. There was a photograph, so do you know when you sent that?
It was in November, but I can send it to you again.
Okay, do you send it to the town council, right? Yeah, would you mind, that would be really great.
Let me send it again.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, but wasn't the tower that caused the fire was because the wind blew the distribution line into that tower, and it wasn't grounded, it was shut off for?
Kind of, it was actually a transmission, there's two double circuit 220s next to what Edison calls, I can't remember the term, but it's basically a line that's no longer used.
Right.
And it's 220 as well. And what happened is that because they didn't shut these lines down, even though the winds were 80 miles an hour, it should have, it induced, just something happened, some sort of, the way the lines moved, they moved so violently that they actually induced for just an instant current in this, they call it idle line, that had no power to it. In fact, the idle line is several miles long, but then it's not connected to anything. So it induced a current there, and then that current shot out, and it caused a fire, because they haven't been maintaining their idle lines.
I heard it also.
It exploded like the insulators that were there, they were.
It wasn't grounded, so.
Yeah, because it's not connected, it's just like, so and Edison has been ordered by the PUC, this is a big deal with the Tri-Town to remove their idle lines, once they, new projects, Edison gets projects approved to replace other projects, because they wanna make bigger lines, but they can't do it on existing lines, because then they need those existing lines to operate one than the new one. So they were supposed to always take down the idle lines after they built their new lines, but they never do.
Yeah.
And this is probably another example of that, so, anyway. So I move that the ATC submit a comment letter on SCE's WMP plan.
Ready for the second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried.
I have a question. As far as SCE, there are several areas in the town where the trees have grown into the lines.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Could you email, wherever you know that is to be the case, could you email the town council, because we'll forward it to Edison.
Okay.
That would be great, because
I'll take
that
photos
is
tomorrow.
not allowed.
There, it's pretty bad right now.
Now, there might be some areas where what the line is just a phone line,
Mhm.
which I don't think has the same requirements for brush clearance.
Okay,
So if it's just one line and not like two or three.
okay.
Usually the phone lines are thicker cable and they hang a little bit lower on the poles. and
Okay.
so,
Yeah, because they come trim our phone line all the time.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, we got a notice
Not
now,
SCE, but-
where all is active, where they're gonna be trimming trees.
Trimming trees.
Okay.
Not far from those areas.
They haven't told us that. At least I didn't see
You
it.
got it.
When did you
Got it
get
in the
that?
mail?
Like 2 weeks ago. It's supposed to start like this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's gone, we talked about it on our meeting.
Yeah, but I don't remember getting a notice from Edison.
I didn't get one.
But
I didn't get notice either.
No.
I personally.
No, it's Public Works.
Public
I
Works.
know they did it once before. and they
Oh,
cut-
that was, okay,
They
public
cut the
works. We
trees
did
back
make
from the
that.
street.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they're gonna.
That's true, I thought we posted the map where they were working, but that's public works, not Edison.
Yeah.
Okay, so it goes, email to you and then it goes to Public Works. They're the ones that actually take care of the.
No,
So I think what's happening with this, they did it like 10 years ago, they came through and they trimmed the trees back from the street, so
Mm-hmm.
like the trash truck didn't hit them and the fire
Okay.
engines don't hit them. I don't know that they're gonna
But
trim
Edison
by
is.
power lines.
Okay, so if there are vegetation growing into power lines, that is Edison's responsibility, so please let us know, because we try to let them know about these
Okay,
situations.
well, I had, because of Firewise, I've actually had homeowners reach out to me for assistance, because they didn't know if they needed to turn it in on their homeowners, and they reached out to their insurance, and the insurance said, well, you know, if there's a claim, we'll end up canceling you.
Oh,
And
don't ever call
so,
insurance.
so they're kinda like, you know, do we just try to figure out how to afford it, do it, do we call somebody, do it, like,
No,
what's the
Edison is
recommendation?
supposed to do it, so just let us know where those places, just general areas.
Okay.
And we'll let Edison know.
Okay, cause the homeowner is afraid that they're gonna get fined.
Well, that was a couple of weeks ago, right? I think you sent that.
Okay, Mike.
There's not going to be.
Yeah. Some say stuff, some say it's life sentence. You don't really know.
Here's the side short of it.
That's right.
We need a motion.
Well, we can do that. That's probably a good idea.
Okay.
Was I entertaining? That we wait.
Okay, we make a motion that there will be no election this year, due to the not enough challengers running for office.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I'll second that. Go ahead.
Pam seconded, all right. Any other discussion? No. All right. Great to serve with all you guys. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion's carried.
Would be wrong for me
You know what, can I, so on the Works app, LA County The Works app,
Okay.
there is a portion in this that you can report tree trimming into the lines and, brush. Tree trimming and overgrown vegetation.
Okay.
So you can report that in the Works app. And then just, you just take pictures of it and send it to them.
Okay.
And then that goes to,
But that, they won't find the homeowner, right? Because there's.
no, this is just reporting.
Okay.
That it's, I mean, it's the same thing as reporting graffiti or streetlights that are out or a stop sign that's down. There's a whole list of stuff on this app that you can report.
Okay.
And one of them is tree trimming and brush clearance. Flood maintenance, storm drains, I mean, there's a ton of stuff in here. So you can just report it through the app and then it'll pin the location, like I usually go stand next to whatever the big trash pile is.
Okay.
And I just take a picture of it and I send them a pin.
Okay.
And then they get it, but there is a thing in here for overgrown brush and for tree trimming.
And that's on the app.
That's on, it's called The Works.
The Works?
Yeah, do you think they will do anything about SCDs?
They will, so sometimes they'll get it and it'll say, we don't do this, but we forwarded it to the proper authorities, or we don't do this and here's the people who do and here's the phone number. So you'll get a response back of some sort.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tammy, would you say that it's called?
It's called The Works.
The Works.
Yeah, and it's just an app, from LA County.
Yeah, first of all.
It's a great app, because when you report anything through there, you respond.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're very responsive.
There's a whole bunch of graffiti on the pylons of the freeway that goes over by Angeles Forest and Sierra Highway. Tons of graffiti. We were out there cleaning it up, and so I just stood there and reported it. It was gone the next day. I got a thing saying it was cleaned up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
responsive to the app.
That's crazy awesome.
All right, next is active bike zone.
Yeah, that's my idea. What I like to see is somehow we can get the LA County to designate Acton as a bike zone. Because what we have is we are a jewel out here for bike riding. I'm talking mountain bikes, road bikes. The terrain is no lights, no stop, very few stop signs. Some of them are lighted. And then we have the beautiful terrain to look around, the openness, the healthy part of bike riding. See, I would like the county to designate Acton as a natural bike zone and try to help us keep it that way, which means they'll be less inclined to approve projects that will hinder this jewel of a bike riding area we have, such as putting best plants, such as putting different projects the county wants to stick out here. Because we want to keep this a special zone. We have the bike clubs in Santa Clarita will come up here and ride. And then Arson, and it's a natural exercise that I would think the county would wanna promote. It's not only good physically, but mentally, to ride up, Soledad, past the campgrounds on those roads. It's a very relaxing mentally to do it. So that's what I would like to see is the county, if there's a way to get the county to designate Acton as a bike zone and try to promote bike riding through this area, because they do, they have a jewel out here, they're letting, they need to really promote.
So maybe this is something that the bicycle master plan was adopted in 2012. And then a couple of years ago, Public Works was going to go through an update in the bicycle and then they put a pause on it about 7 months ago. So maybe we can find out why they paused it and inject this as something as part of that master plan, because we were invited to all the meetings, but there have been so many things going on that and I think it was Ariana and Associates that was doing an outreach on it. But maybe, and it looks like Josie's picture just showed up, but maybe we can talk about that.
Yeah, I will forward the request to our bikeway group and then have them send an email to the town council, see what can be done. I'm not really sure, but I mean, I'll forward the request.
Do you know what's going on with the bicycle master plan?
No, I don't have any update on that.
Okay, because maybe that's how we could do it. I mean, if this current system can't accommodate it, but they're doing this update,
Yeah. Or even a county ride out here, designate a path and have a county bike ride for like Ciclovia.
Oh, yeah.
that's for the LA.
Oh, yeah.
And have it out here in the rural area, to introduce people to bike riding out here.
I think that's a really good idea. I wasn't sure that I thought of this, so I was doing some research, and one of the things I was thinking about is a new law was just passed, Governor Newsom signed it last year, saying that you cannot put, we have a bike trail already through much of Acton. It's mapped on the existing bicycle master plan. But they haven't marked it at all, and through what they call chevrons, I think they call it. That's where they put the chevrons in, painted to mark it with the paint. And so one of the things I was thinking about is, why don't we get that done, at least on Sierra Highway, and that might even address some of the food truck issues. But unfortunately, Governor Newsom signed a bill last year that says you cannot do any more marking for bike lanes unless the road they're all what they call class 3 bike lanes are. Unless the road speed limit is 30 miles an hour or less. So it's like, now we can't even, it's almost the opposite of what you want. At least in my mind, you're safer on a bike, and I used to ride a bike, but I haven't ridden one here much. But you're safer if you have a pathway delineated for bikes that's separated, certainly physically separated, but not physically separated and separated by paint. So have that visual separation. Now we can't even do that.
Which is very counterintuitive, because you would think that.
I know.
Well, even the faster you go, you would want anything better than nothing.
I know, it's like, okay, you get nothing because the car's going fast.
Well, even if they would
insane.
just take that right line, because you always try to ride on the right side of that line and let the cars go, because Soledad, the cars are going 60, 70 miles an hour. I had them barely scrape my arm. But the white always happens on a turn. It's little skinny, next thing you have to ride on the left side of that line. Even if they would go back and just give me a couple of feet on the other side of that would be my bike lane.
I agree 100%. And
like I said, the long-lasting effects of these bike lanes, the bike riding out here is only a plus for the county, mentally and physically.
Yeah. Well, I think, I mean, we push for it for equestrians, we should push for it for bikes too. We haven't gotten either of them, but.
Yes.
You know, it's like.
Because it also helps with.
For horses riding bikes.
Yeah, you do. It also helps with the illegal dumping and trash pickup, because you notice so much trash riding a bike than you do a car, because you're going by 40, 50 miles an hour. And, but on a bike, you know, other
Same thing
than,
like the big guy riding a horse, he found almost dead, he slaughtered horses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Josie, is it possible if you could help to find out what's going on with the bicycle master plan update? Let us know, and then maybe, if Don, maybe you could spearhead that, because
Yeah.
we didn't have anybody, we just. Too many
We had no
things
bike
to-
rider.
We had no time, bike riders had no time.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have any bike riders.
Yeah, okay.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thanks,
okay.
thanks, Don, for bringing that up. All right, minutes. Oh, sure. Hey,
I just emailed you the notes from November 10th. So I was gonna move that we just, consider the December minutes and then table the November minutes until the next meeting.
okay.
thanks for coming.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
so we have a motion to
Let's accept the
accept the December.
Is that okay? Does that sound like the way?
And then table the November. Okay. You have a second?
I'll second that.
Yeah. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. We almost wrangled this back into time. Amazing. Okay, committee report, education committee.
Okay, I'll be as quick as I can. I got a newsletter from the school districts starting the second half of the school year. One thing that caught my interest, especially just returning from Europe, a Christmas market trip, is I'm always impressed at how many people in Europe speak two languages, their own language and English. And so they, in their newsletter, they said they did a survey. How interested are you in dual languages starting in kindergarten?
Oh.
80% said very interested. So they are contemplating, teaching other languages besides, as a second language to English.
From the beginning, huh?
Yeah. They said also those improvements in several key indicators, suspension rates, English language progress, college career readiness, and English language arts. So they are making headway. The one problem they're still working on is chronic absenteeism, which remains stable, but they want to improve it. So let's hope they have a good year, and that's the education report.
Thank you, sir.
So,
All right, planning board meeting, the ARTC.
so one thing, based on public comments received today, should we write a letter to regional planning discussing the lights on the bank building?
Yes.
Or should we reach out to them, does anybody, people know people at the bank, should we talk?
They're all saying girls around, there's like, every time you go in there, there's new people, even the
It
main
seems to me
manager.
like it's actually the entire shopping centers, maybe you would contact Brady Watt if any problem.
Is it just, but.
It's
otherwise
just
the
on the bank
Just
bill.
on the bank though.
Well, I noticed like in the
Well,
front, like the
I don't think it's bad to
aftermarket,
reach out to
the old aftermarket.
I
give
can
it a
write
try.
it, so I don't know, do you
Yeah.
wanna talk to him?
Yeah,
And
because I think that might be a good start, because if Brady's not responsible for the lights on there, he would know who.
He'll take care of it. Just education.
So, yeah, just.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think it's on purpose, I don't think it's.
No, I think so we put them in during the daylight.
Yeah.
And then we're like,
And they said,
oh,
these are
they
good.
work, yeah, and then, yeah.
just, and I.
And nobody's in the banks there at
Yeah,
9 o'clock at night, so.
Right.
no, they're gone, they're out there by 5.
So do you mind, Pam said,
No,
maybe
I
you reach
guess
out to him?
not a problem, I'll do it. I'll do it tomorrow.
And then we get, anything else?
Nope.
Still Felicity, finance ways and means, Pam, anything to report?
Nothing.
Okay. Community standards?
We have that.
We have trails and open space,
I don't think anything.
utilities.
Oh, okay, Okay, so I put this where the Public Works about Santa Clara River Watershed Plan, this district. So, so the dates are January 12th, from 10:30 to 1. January 13th from 1 to 3, and January 26th from 10 to 2.
1 to 3, and then 10 to 2.
You can't do any of them?
I think I can do
Oh,
it.
oh, okay.
I can do all, I am not sure that I can jump up, so I don't know what I can do. So I would say, if there's agreement on anything earlier, then more people go and do that, otherwise I would aim for the 26th.
Okay.
So what was the 26th?
It was from 10 to 2.
10 to 2, and the 12th was from 10:30 to.
The 12th is from 10:30 to 1.
Okay, 12th or 26th.
Okay, Jeremiah on 26th, then Dawn on 12th and 26th. How about you, June?
Is this an in-person meeting?
No. I think it's remote, but I believe it's Zoom.
Zoom I can.
Which ones?
Whichever you want.
All
Okay.
three.
Okay, so Pam and Kelly and June are good on all.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, that was it for me.
So I guess shoot for the 26th. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
Or any
yeah,
of them,
yeah,
but
yeah.
definitely the 26th and the 12th.
Yeah, 26th is the most connection.
Yes, the most connection, yeah.
So that's what I'll do.
What
Yeah,
do you
very
bring
much.
Monday.
Is it Monday? Or why don't we do 26th then?
Sounds like an idea.
Yeah.
Alright, okay, the, bylaws,
No.
okay, emergency response. Anything, June, emergency response?
Well, according to the three people, on the well owners, there's a training course, free online, on January 26th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah, just a comment on the three people thing, I actually did have them, they came out, did our well tests, and.
Did they?
Yeah, they did,
Oh,
and I found out, I had won the reverse geologic lottery, and, I had 9 parts, or 9 milligrams per liter of fluoride.
Oh, my gosh. So you have great teeth. We're all coming to your house.
No, it's actually bad.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's bad and it causes bone problems. So,
Oh.
so, but it was interesting, because we had other tests, you had for bacteria, all that other stuff, we did, so it was interesting, so we did learn something.
Oh, that's really good, you guys did
Yeah,
that, that's
so-
great.
Yeah, so that program is actually, I've been happy with all our
Is there a
interactions.
solution to the fluoride problem?
You have to reverse osmosis, so.
Oh.
That's, which is, but, just as a side, I'm the only one in my house that drinks the Lola, everyone else is drinking like, bottled water. And I'm like,
Yeah.
huh. Alright.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
And then there's the third class starts tomorrow night, Tuesday,
Where's that at?
at the Aguadulce Women's Club. Being taught by the LA County Fire Department.
And then that's multiple,
Yeah.
It's cert,
Yeah.
cert training.
Yes, every Tuesday evening from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
And then how many, like, if you started, how many weeks or?
It goes through February 17th.
It's like 10 or 12 weeks.
Except we had problems with our classes
Oh,
then.
yeah.
We had the fires, we had the fires.
Fires, and we had the
And then after the fires, they.
What difference a year is?
Yeah.
Who's putting it on, cause it's not AV?
No, it's the fire department, LA County Fire Department.
Okay.
They're very intensive and they give you a drill at the end before you graduate.
I'm part of CERT AV, that's what I was
Oh,
asking,
AV.
AV CERT, yeah.
That's good.
It wasn't here.
Alright, so next up, illegal dumping.
Illegal dumping, what would you like to know?
It's
So,
all been stopped, right? Everything's great.
there's not a piece of trash out there on any of our roads, it's right by the.
Except for Caltrans right away.
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
So all the big, huge toxic dumps that we had, Allen Woods Road, Ward Road, Small Road, where was the other, Mountain View has not been picked up yet, but anyways. and
Forest View,
Canyon.
Forest View, I think, the one behind,
The freeway on and off ramps at Angeles Forest.
is it still there?
Oh, it's still there, yeah.
That's the one that has asbestos in it.
It has asbestos in it, and so did the one at Small Road.
But it didn't have as much at the small road.
It wasn't as much, and then the stuff on Alpadose Canyon had quite a bit.
That's, yeah.
So, in fact, that stuff,
Do you pick it up?
oh, no, this is county stuff, yeah, it's above our pay grade.
There was a lot, the small road stuff,
Yeah.
Public Works picked up truckloads of it, and then like 2 days later, in the middle of the night, somebody dumped a second load.
Yeah.
And that was when we figured out, oh, there's asbestos in this.
Well, and they dumped, like, what was there, 6 trucks, we caught them, but we didn't catch them. 6 trucks were down there, all staging, ready to dump down on the small road, and we could see them from our house. But there's scout cars with radios, and the second, so I called the sheriff's department, love my sheriff's department, they come blaring lights and sirens at 8 o'clock at night, it's pitch dark, they can see them coming up Sarah Highway and up 25th. And as soon as they do, the radios go off, they scatter like the roaches that they are. And they dumped 6 more loads that night.
Oh, see.
And so they
But
have.
they were gone by the time the sheriff got there?
Yes,
Yeah,
because they're probably 3 or 4 miles out, and they can hear the sheriff's coming.
So if the sheriffs had come with quiet, then
They
they would
would've
have done
never.
it. Well, so next time, we'll catch them again.
Well, we're hoping they don't dump anymore.
Since when current sheriffs caught a truck driver November 11th, early morning, November 11th, outside of Roseland dumping stuff that looks just like this, I think it stopped after that. It could be they found other places to go, but I don't know. I only got one report after that November 11th dump, and that was one that could have been a day or 2 before. So, I'm thinking that they gave up, but I'm hoping they did. And we also put those cameras out all over the
Yeah, we
place.
have a lot of the.
Yeah, thanks for putting those cameras out.
Yeah.
But, so, some of that stuff, the toxins, had to go to Newberry Springs. It had to be trucked to Newberry Springs, which I wouldn't wanna live there anyways. And then the other stuff goes to either Arizona or Texas. So I think some of the stuff off Aquadosa Canyon had to go to either Arizona or Texas.
No, I know that that's true, because like, that was a comment that we made on the Angelina project. There is no facility in California that can accept best waste.
Right.
There's not one single licensed one.
Yeah.
So,
So, but all of those are cleaned up now, except the one on the mountain.
We have and I haven't checked since Christmas, but there's a huge one of the last ones was way out at 250th East and G, just inside the county line. And that one might still be out there. I haven't checked it.
Because of the toxicity?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's so much, yeah.
So anyway, so most of that is gone except the one left there by, kind of behind Vincent Hill, basically. But then as far as our regular trash stuff, like going out tomorrow, somebody mentioned up to 5-gallon buckets, probably 100 of them, just on Aliso Canyon. And I don't know, the guy that called me today, I didn't need to ask him what the bucket said, but a lot of times we'll find it, it'll say like chlorine or pool acid but they're empty. So it's coming from a pool guy, it's coming from a pool company, a pool cleaner, but he said there was a lot of these, so we're gonna go get those tomorrow, and then there's always the mattress and the tires. So, in fact, since the end of December, we took in 85 tires that we had picked up. We've got 6 tires this week and 10 tires the next week.
that's just so, because the Public Works has lots of tire drop-offs. I announce them every time. I give the dates and where they are. Just be.
And mattresses.
Mattresses are free, yeah.
Mattresses are free, the tires are free. So we took in 85 tires and 35 mattresses, 32 mattresses. The end, so now, that was it was right before Christmas, so maybe like the 20th of December. We took all those into Public Works, it's really good about, we call them and say, we're bringing them in. So we do, as of yesterday, it was 4th of January, we have 17 more tires already waiting to go to Public Works.
What is
So-
wrong with people?
I don't, and it's, some of the tires are like, they're truck tires, they're this
Are
big.
they tractor tires?
They're massive, I mean, they're just huge tires, and I just don't, but anyway, there'll be 4 of them.
And when you
inside the
buy
road.
those tires, you pay a fee to dispose of them
Yes,
anyway.
yes.
That's what doesn't make any sense, I mean.
Oh,
So it's the resale companies that are blamed for that. So you pay the fee when you buy them at Firestone, then Firestone sells the used tires to Joe's Used Tire Store. And then Joe's Used Tire Store sells it to somebody who has really bad tires, and he takes those really falling apart bad tires and throws them out in the desert.
There you go. Yep, so it's just, so yeah, so anyways, yeah, so we're gonna
How
have
my culture.
buckets and tires and those recyclables.
Tammy, where do the mattresses come from? I'm just curious.
Off of people's beds.
Yeah.
That would
That's
shoot.
maybe.
No, there are people, people just take them from their, I mean, they're not all stacked up 35 in a barrel. We'll pick up 2 this week, we've got 2, we'll pick up tomorrow. So we pick them up and we put them in our little storage area. And then once we get a certain amount, then we take them into to the Public Works. But it's, you know, yeah, people that buy a new mattress and they buy it from, you know, Bob at the swap meet. So now they gotta get rid of their old mattress, so they just chuck it by the side of the road. So it's just, there's no accountability, you know, but they have free mattress dumps, they have free tire dumps.
Because you pay fees to the state.
Yes,
And that's why you can take the mattresses for free to the landfill.
you've already paid for it.
Yeah, it's already been paid for.
Yeah,
But it's just too far to drive, you're doing it at 10 o'clock at
But
night.
now the landfill, I think, charges you for.
No, they're
They do
not supposed to, no. And so if you ever hear or verify that they're charging, let me know, because we've gone through this 15 times. No, it's free, they gotta take the mattresses
So
for free.
if you're rolling in there with 3 mattresses, they gotta take them.
Yes, yes.
Interesting.
They don't take them from
I know,
business, they'll take them
we
from
just bought
people.
a new mattress, and we had to, we pay a fee for it.
Correct.
Yeah.
But they took your old
And-
mattress.
and that's
away.
what's-
No, we just put it on our, we had it, bought a new bed first.
You jumped on Carson Mesa, didn't you?
This is a safe-ish place, Jackie.
Hey,
My office is
Tammy,
now
I would be
become a spare
really
bedroom
curious when you're
supposed to
looking
be,
at
so
those
we
buckets
put
for
it to bed.
chlorine,
Uh-huh.
how many there are, and there's only so many places around here to start finding.
Well, and I don't, some of them, but there's other buckets too, I don't know what they all are. Yeah, I don't know. I'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, cause it's
How
either
is
gonna
that
have to be on
animal
the.
dumping?
Those would be recycled.
You have the chickens, but
Got
how
the
about the
chickens.
dogs and goats and stuff?
We've been doing okay with the dumped dead animals, the 50 chickens or
Chickens,
whatever
yeah.
that we just cleaned up, that was our last
Okay.
big cleanup, and that was.
But they're not showing up at that off-ramp off Solid Canyon on the freeway anymore. You know where you can't find
Oh,
them?
up at Angel's Forest.
Yeah, Angel's
Yeah, in
Forest,
the
yeah.
bushes. No, because that was puppies, and that was dogs, and that was, goats.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing baby sheep, I don't know, they were in a bucket and drowned.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm sure somebody had a job, had a business collecting dead animals or something like that.
They get a lot of money for those. They
Yeah.
get a lot of money for animal disposal.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened with those horses too. I think they were paying people.
Yeah, and, oh, that's what, I forgot about the horses up on Peaceful Valley, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
back at Peace
Yeah.
Valley where they were dumping the horses. So, but anyway, so yeah, so, I mean, it's going, you know, we still have the illegal contractors that are, you know, dumping their bathroom remodels down the hills and things like that. With it being as wet as it is right now, we're probably, oh, there's a boat too, I think that.
Well, we might need that, hold on to that.
Yeah. I'm like, wait, can we float down Crown Valley in this? But it's back in the weeds and the bushes across kind of from the Metrolink station. So,
I'm usually impressed when they get something someplace and you're just like, I don't even know how to get that back there. Like,
Right.
Like, how did they get it back there?
yeah, usually they just dump them on
Yeah,
the
that's
side
what
of
I
the
mean, it's
road.
like, it took some effort, and yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna check that one out tomorrow, see what that boat's all
They did it
about.
at 2 a.m.
That's
Right.
weird. It's like, it's.
You know what? They don't have to. I swear they don't have
Just
to.
do whatever.
I was just talking to somebody tonight and I said, you know, we've had mattresses and tires and trash bags on our trailers. And we're like, you know what? We need to put these mattresses on the bottom. We're on the side of the road. We are now taking mattresses and tires off of our trailer, tossing them on the side of the road so we can get back to the bottom of the trailer and then start reloading. I can't tell you how many people drive by
with no.
And just never say a word, never
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, don't be.
I thought you went in different directions. I thought you were saying, we're unloading, and if somebody else pulls up, and they start unloading. I was like, oh, man.
I mean, we unloaded the
Great
entire,
spot.
not
This is
entire,
okay.
but, you know, mattresses, tires, and trash bags, and we've taken them all off the trailer to start over because we didn't realize we were picking up so much stuff. And people don't say a word, they just drive by, and it's on Sierra Highway, so there's traffic. So,
Okay.
but anyway, so yeah, so it continues, and like I said, we're gonna go out tomorrow, I'll let you know what those buckets all are about tomorrow. The guy that called me said he was pretty sure they were all empty, you know, whatever they are, they're empty buckets.
And where was this?
Off of Aliso Canyon, almost to the mine,
Oh, the
road.
divide road.
Yeah, I think it's N45 or something like that, he said it's right there. So,
And 100 buckets.
well, he said.
Or however,
Yes.
I mean,
He said,
any more than one is.
yeah, probably more than 30 or 40, because I think originally I had said there was probably like 100 chickens that had gotten dumped.
Oh.
And they actually picked them up and counted them too, but, there was 50, I think, is what they finally.
I thought there was more. Let me go see, maybe I can. I thought
Make
there
my
was.
story better.
What time are you starting tomorrow?
9 o'clock, but there's only a few, there's a couple guys going.
Of it, I don't know what it was, but it's right by the slide, and some kids gonna wipe their head on it, and chop their head off. And what the county did, I suppose, is they put one of those cones, orange and white cones, with a cable around it, which they could trip on. So I think it's really important to get that out of the ground. That's just a disaster waiting to happen, that's gorilla talking.
So is it a piece of metal stuck into the ground?
Yeah, it used to hold something, like a, I don't know what they're called, a metal plate.
Well, they had to replace the slide because it was broken for more than a year, so it must be left over.
Something that's left over and it's under the little wood chip thing, so it's hard to see. Anyway, that's horrible.
And they should have brought grandma with them when they were fixing it.
Yeah.
Because we would have told
We
them.
know people. Meadowlark traffic, we've spoken to the, principal over there, and they've now rerouted off of Soledad and up the private road on Wisconsin Street, so that their traffic now goes pretty far back. My daughter can talk to the principal and to their council, the boards, whoever they are, but, it's pretty bad up there. Now
Is this
our-
to prevent backup on Soledad? Or
Yes.
just,
Yes.
we've been asking for a long, long time from Public Works, and we have several Public Works people here, so maybe I'm glad you're saying this.
Yeah.
We need to have a solution at Wisconsin and Soledad Canyon, and we have for years been asking for that.
It's a quarter mile up, so now they're about a quarter mile up on a private road, which is bad.
Is it dirt at that point?
Oh, yeah.
It's all dirt.
It's bad anyway, and, so that's just a concern. I, also contacted the two property owners that are front on Soledad, to see if they might wanna sell it to the school, I don't know, I'm reaching. So that's that one, and then, again, because we don't have our country journal anymore, there's a lot of, and I'm not opposed to it, motorcycle riding erasers that are just cruising down our private road very fast and very loud with loud music, lights and like 15 times something. So I know we can't do anything about it, but it's really obnoxious. And then I'm also concerned, as a realtor, selling our property in David Land, the restrictions on our wells. It's brutal, it's really brutal.
The 2 gallons per minute for 24
Well,
hours?
that and the Santa Seals, and now you have to have a well completion report in order to do anything. But if you look up the well completion reports, most of them don't even have APN numbers on them with the Water Resource Board, so it's a mess, and people don't know it, like us